What if I told you that the most dominant short track racer of all time was a ghost? Decades ago, there was a mysterious racer that would annihilate their competition on a weekly basis. Known for its slick and stylish paint scheme, the competition dubbed his car the Halloween Machine. "He's just too groovy," his competition would say, citing his bold and threatening color choices. After an impressive string of dominant wins at one especially remote speedway, the community began to refer to this track as Groovy Hollow. Over time, fewer and fewer racers dared to challenge the Halloween Machine at his home track. Then, one night, during a race at Groovy Hollow, a thunderstorm suddenly enveloped the entire speedway. Both the Halloween Machine and his favorite track disappeared without a trace. The legend of the Halloween Machine grew even deeper, and it garnered a cult-like following. But as the years passed, racers across the region seemed to forget about Groovy Hollow and the force that had dominated it for years. As time passed and with the turn of a new century, the common belief was the location of the track and the Halloween Machine would never be found. That is, until now. Reports say that the long-lost track known as Groovy Hollow has been found.
How long is it going to take for him to start racing there again?
You know, we often talk about drivers he forgot about, but when it comes to tracks, this one has to be top of the list.
Just reading about this place completely blows my mind.
I remember hearing stories from drivers. They hadn't seen anything like it.
With the track now rediscovered, attention turned to locating the Halloween Machine. We've always heard the phrase, "racers race." It's a saying that's been true no matter the era. The Halloween Machine has been summoned. Now, we race. Groovy Hollow. Groovy Hollow, why did it have to be Groovy Hollow? Welcome everybody to the Groovy Hollow 200. My name is Eric. Yes, I'm all dressed up. We're all festive. It's Halloween week. Very, very exciting. You got practice going on right here. Right here, you got the cars making laps around the famous, or rather infamous, Groovy Hollow Raceway. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you so much to AE Engine and Podium Esports for making this event possible. Tonight, 29 iRacers will attempt to take on the mysterious Halloween machine at his home track. We've seen a lot of great guesses about who the mystery driver may be. You already saw the legend, the story, the tale of this shrouded figure cloaked in mystery. We'll find out all of the answers here tonight. Should be a fantastic show. And tonight's event is all to benefit a good cause. We're working with Extra Life through the Children's Miracle Network. And so all of our racers competing tonight have actually generously made a donation to Extra Life. And you all have that opportunity as well. This whole event is to raise funds for the Children's Miracle Network. And tonight we also have some exciting giveaways to do as well to further incentivize everyone to get involved. So I want to talk about that real quick, and then we're going to bring in our resident iRacing expert to get you guys ready for the event tonight. As oh man, they're going nuts over there in practice. I'm watching right now. Cars already parked on the back straightaway. We haven't even gotten started tonight. This is going to be a challenging event, but folks who donate tonight, we're giving away things like Out of the Groove bags. I hope you guys get a good view of that right here. Giving away Out of the Groove bags for folks who donate. We're giving away t-shirts as well. Things are going to be flying off the shelves tonight. You can get all the details. Oh my gosh, it's upside down. Got Out of the Groove Podcast Network orange Halloween themed t-shirts. We've got wires tangled up everywhere. We've got polo shirts as well. These are literally just sitting on the floor. This is not very, very organized, but we've got some Podcast Network polo shirts, and of course, NASCAR diecast as well. We've got some Noah Gragson cars to give away. You might have noticed everyone's driving Xfinity Series cars tonight, so that's kind of the theme of the evening. So if you check out the description down below, you can see how you can enter those giveaways. We have literally dozens of items to give away here tonight, so we're going to be doing that all throughout the event. So get your donations in right now so that you have the best chance at winning one of these many prizes. And I see in the chat people are guessing Timmy Hill, William Byron, Josh Berry, Eric Jones, Matt Kenseth. I don't think Matt Kenseth even knows what iRacing is. Let me I'll debunk that one right there, although he would be a pretty stout short track racer, I think, if he made some laps in the sim. But again, I want to continue to reiterate that this event is for Extra Life, part of the Children's Miracle Network. An idea of what Extra Life does. Extra Life has been around since 2008, and since 2008 they have raised more than $87 million and over $17 million just in the last year alone. So they are on the rise. A great cause. Extra Life is the first gaming-centric program to make the list of top 30 peer-to-peer fundraising programs. It's done it for now 2 years in a row, and more than 50,000 gamers register every year for Extra Life, and more than half of the Extra Life community members are content creators on YouTube and Twitch. So it's a great theme. Great to have them partnered with tonight's iRacing stream, iRacing event. James Davison, that would actually be a pretty good one. He looked good in the iRacing Pro Invitational last year, that Chicago street race. Truex, I'm loving the chat. Quinn Hauf, no, Indiana Jones is not the mystery driver. The chat is throwing a lot of names around. Yeah, Jimmy Spencer, why not? Really having fun with it here tonight. But I want to again encourage everyone to donate. During the stream, we will have a little meter, a groovy gauge, if you will, tracking everyone's donations. We have a goal set, a very hefty goal of $7,500 set. Hoping we hit that goal here tonight. We will only be able to do that if you guys all support. So make sure to get those donations in. We'll be going in just a moment. We'll be bringing in Ryan Vargas, NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, and I'd say an iRacing expert. His beautiful number 6 Swan Chevrolet is out in the field tonight. You'll see that tonight. That's one final thing I want to mention before we bring Ryan in here. You can still vote for your favorite Groovy Hollow 200 at paint scheme. If you head down to groovyhollowraceway.com, you click on the tab, you can vote for your favorite paint scheme that's in the field tonight. And at the end of the stream, we will be giving away a $100 Amazon gift card to someone random who votes for a paint scheme. We've gotten thousands of people that have already voted for their favorite paint scheme. A lot of really good ones I talked about in Out of the Groove this week already, but you still have a chance to vote for your favorite. So one final time, if you want to have a shot at winning any of those special prizes that we're giving away, be sure to click that link down below, that top link, to donate to Extra Life and the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. So the chat's continuing to guess. Nikita Mazepin, there we go. All right. A lot of people are guessing Coke Series drivers. Mike Joy. What if we get Mike Joy behind the wheel of the Halloween machine? That would be pretty hilarious. Oh, I forgot to mention one other thing. If you donate, you'll also have the chance to leave a message that will pop up on stream as well during the race. So it's going to be a very exciting time. I've rambled on and on enough. We're going to toss things to the broadcast booth here in just a short while. But first, let's go, if he's ready, if we have him all set up, let's go now to Ryan Vargas, NASCAR Xfinity Series driver from JD Motorsports. Let's see if we got his audio connected. Ryan, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I got you, loud and clear.
There we go, loud and clear. Love to see it. Good to see you, man. Well, good to hear from you first and foremost. There you are. I see you right below. You're on the TV with me.
Look at that.
Great
nice
stuff.
Little graphic there.
Fantastic. This is amazing. Well, it's great to see you, Ryan. We know you're a great iRacing competitor. You're a real-world race car driver first and foremost. So as someone who races in the real world and on the sim, I know you've probably gotten this question a million times, but are any real-world drivers maybe at an advantage tonight? Like guys like Jordan Anderson, Spencer Boyd, do you think they'll have an advantage having raced at some of these types of tracks in real life?
I mean, I would say so. I mean, I think Jordan Anderson and Spencer Boyd, they're going to be plenty good tonight. Spencer Boyd, I actually know, has raced at Hickory along with myself, and I'm pretty sure Jordan's raced at Hickory. I mean, anyone who's lived in North Carolina for long enough definitely has.
Absolutely. Well, we're also running Xfinity Series cars tonight, and you run full-time the Xfinity Series. In fact, we can see your paint scheme on screen right now.
Looking good.
To my left, audience right. But what makes the Xfinity cars so fun, so unique to drive?
Well, the biggest thing to me is, you have a lot of horsepower and you have very little downforce. And another thing too is the ride height rule. There's a ride height rule. The cars sit a lot higher than the Cup cars, so there's a lot more roll. The bodies, they're a lot more curved to them. So when you go to the 1.5 mile tracks and stuff like that, like you saw at Kansas this weekend, a lot of side-by-side racing, very easy to pull up and pass these guys. Makes for some really good racing on the big tracks, while also still being a perfect car for the short tracks like we're going to see tonight.
Yeah, we talk all about in real life, the composite bodies of the Xfinity cars. It allows them to beat and bang with a little more carelessness, if you will. Does that translate into tonight's race, you think, at all?
Absolutely. Hickory is one of the most tough racetracks in the country. I've had the pleasure of racing here several times in my career and probably had a best finish. I think it was like second or something like that. But I mean, it's a tough racetrack. It has a lot of character, a lot of bumps, and I can guarantee you that the car that wins tonight probably isn't going to have a very clean race car.
No, absolutely not. And people who are looking at the practice session going on right now can see some of the fog in the air, so visibility may even be a slight concern. What would your approach be in a race like this? Would you try to be aggressive early? The qualifying order was set by a random draw, so we have some fast cars maybe near the back, maybe some guys who need a little more practice up towards the front. Not quite sure until things really shape up, but what would your approach be? Be aggressive early or hang back and try to avoid the wrecks?
You got to look at two things here. It's a short track, so you don't know how long the green flag runs are going to be. So it's going to be up to the driver to know, A, do I push it really hard and risk burning up my tires just to maintain track position? Because at the end of the day, at a place like this where it's very, track position sensitive, you're going to want to keep that spot you're in. If you're running in the top 4, 5, 6 positions, you don't want to get past. You don't really want to, fall through the field. So I'm very interested to see how that goes. It's going to be interesting to see what strategies get pulled.
It's going to be interesting too because it is the Groovy Hollow 200, so there are 200 laps as the name suggests, but we have 3 separate stages. There's a 40-lap sprint at the beginning, a 60-lap middle portion, and a 100-lap at the end. It actually pays $50 to win for our drivers, whoever wins these stages. So do you think with those cautions early on, those set cautions that we know are coming out, do you think that will change the way anyone chooses to race, at least in the beginning?
I think so. I think that you're going to see a couple guys maybe charge hard at the beginning. Okay, I have a caution coming up really soon. Okay, let's get that track position. And once that caution comes out, I'll come down, put some 4 freshies on there, some Goodyear Eagles, and go back out and try and just maintain. I think it's going to be a lot of hustle and bustle to start, and then they're going to get back in and just kind of settle in until the end.
You mentioned this place has a lot of bumps, and there are a set number of tires that teams are allowed tonight. They have the set of tires that's currently on the car at the start, and I believe they have 2 more sets of 4. So you mentioned all the bumps. How big will tire wear management, I guess, be, especially the second half of this race?
Absolutely. You can see on my screen here the little steering wheel. It's going to matter how smooth you are on this thing. If you're fighting the wheels, turning it a lot, you're going to burn that tire off. You're going to burn that right front. If you're smooth on the wheel, keep the tires underneath you. I've seen it a lot with this iRacing tire model, that if you slide the car way too much, even just 1 or 2 many times, you're going to regret it. So I think the best finishing car tonight is going to be the one who slips or spins their tires the least.
So that kind of leads into my next question is, what do you think will be the biggest challenge? We've talked about all these extenuating circumstances, all these things that are going on, all the things that makes these cars fun to drive. We see Spencer Boyd on screen tonight. I'm really curious to see how the real world drivers fare against the more, sim racers that we have in the field. But what will be the biggest challenge if you had to pick one tonight?
I mean, I'm watching Spencer right now. Come on, Spencer, keep it out of the wall. But I think it's going to be a case of, like I said earlier, track position, track position, track position. You said there's 20-something cars in this field. If you find yourself outside that top 15 trying to fight for every little spot, you're going to end up burning your car up, or worse, get yourself caught up into a wreck. So if you're running up front, I mean, it's almost better to be in the top 3, top 5. I mean, if you're in that spot, you're going to have yourself a really good shot at the win in this Groovy Hollow 200.
It's going to be a hornet's nest out there. You've had success in your life racing on short tracks. What are some of your favorite short track memories that you have in the real racing world?
Man, one thing I'll say is racing late models on the West Coast. They have a different package there. We have about the same engine package as late models out here on the East Coast, but the tire is 2 inches more narrow, has a lot less grip, and the sidewall isn't as stiff. So it lends itself to racing where basically it kind of turns into like a Darlington-esque type racing where you're kind of hanging the car out and sliding around. I remember the first time we switched that tire racing at Irwindale, and that was so much fun. It basically brought the whole field together and really made the racing intense. And we found some pretty good success with that tire as well. We got a couple wins under our belt in the past couple years racing late models out there on the West Coast.
Fantastic. And of course, another short track race coming up for you this weekend at the Real World Martinsville Speedway. Quick, before we start to wrap up the pre-race show, what are you excited for this weekend at Martinsville?
Just excited to get to the racetrack. I mean, Martinsville Speedway is always super exciting. It's going to be a crazy race. The Swan Security Halloween car looks absolutely wild, very spooky, very spooktacular. I'm excited to see it hit the track. And we also have a new partner being released tomorrow for the rear bumper. So keep an eye out for that.
I saw that, keeping things a secret. This whole race tonight is about secrecy, is about spookiness. We'll hopefully reveal the Halloween machine driver a bit later in the show. I hope they don't just run off and hide with this race. I hope it's a competitive event. But thank you so much, Ryan, for being on the pre-race show. Good luck this weekend at Martinsville, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Good luck to all the drivers.
Absolutely. This is going to be a fantastic show. I want to remind everybody watching, we have over 1,000 people watching live right now on YouTube. A reminder to everybody that this is all for a good cause, to submit your donations to Extra Life, that top link down in the description below. Shortly after the green flag, we'll begin giving things away. Again, we've got all of those out of the groove bags to give away. We've got t-shirts, polo shirts, NASCAR diecasts, and much, much more to give away. So in just a moment, I'll throw things to the booth where we have Devin and James awaiting us. But to wrap things up, I want to give a ton of thanks to all the people who've helped make this event possible. It's absolutely not just me. In fact, I'm probably one of the smallest parts of this entire cogwheel of going. So a big thank you first and foremost to Robbie Clavey, our Groovy Hollow 200 event producer. He's been wrangling all the drivers. He's been working with us, and he's been working with every single piece of this puzzle to make it come together. So we really do appreciate that from him. A huge thank you to Christopher Darling as well, otherwise known as MaxGrafix. He designed, I think, pretty much all of the special paint schemes you see in the field here tonight. So a big thank you to Christopher. Of course, from Podium Esports, Gary Sexton and the entire team who are helping produce this event. of course, from AE Engine as well, Nicole Cooper, Joe Roebuck, and all of the others who've designed the websites and the graphics that you've seen at GroovyHollowRaceway.com, and much, much more. Thank you to Jordan Anderson for helping bring the Halloween machine to life. Y'all seen that iconic number 31 on there already. We'll find out who the official driver is here hopefully shortly. Thank you to Spencer Boyd as well for driving the record rack machine. Great to have real world drivers competing tonight. Haley Beckstrand and Kelly Davis at Extra Life and the Children's Miracle Network, they have been extremely helpful as well. And of course, a big thank you to our mystery driver, who will remain nameless for now, but for how much longer, who knows. With this many people watching, with this many eyeballs focused on Groovy Hollow, he can't remain a secret forever, right? The identity has to be leaked eventually. And of course, a big thank you to everyone who's tuned in tonight and everyone who has already and will donate to Extra Life. We really do appreciate it. Thank you all so, so much. Without further ado, we're getting fairly close now to the green flag. I see a lot of guesses still coming through the chat right here, but I want to go ahead and toss things, if they're fully set up and prepared, I want to toss things to the folks at Podium Esports. We have Devin Henry and James Pike in the booth. They'll be calling most of the action, but you'll hear from me again very, very soon because we've got some exciting stuff to give away. So James, Devin, if you're there, take it away.
Well, thank you very much, Eric, and welcome everyone to Groovy Hollow, where we didn't know if we'd see this place for a while, Devin. We weren't certain that this place would ever come back again, but we found it, and we're back here, and maybe it's just me, but I think given the context of everything, it's very fitting that we have a cemetery outside of turns 1 and 2 at Groovy Hollow Raceway. No joke, which means we're in for a very spooky night during this spooky season.
Yeah, and I think honestly probably the best part of this race is that drivers can actually send 2 of their cars to that graveyard. Having a couple of fast repairs in this race is going to be crucial for these guys because when you come to Spooky Hollow, the worst and craziest things tend to happen here. You need to be at the top of your game 100% of the way, and even the slightest little bump, little touch sends you to the outside wall, sends you into another car. I mean, so much can go wrong here, and that's in part of what makes a win at this track so dang special.
This is a very bumpy racetrack. It is old. It's not like Groovy Hollow popped up yesterday, and there's a lot of history here, but that also means that the surface is very tricky, especially down on that inside line. So you may see drivers have their cars thrown up into the middle lane just because they hit the bumps wrong, and likewise, making sure that you take the right line through the corner here at Groovy Hollow Raceway can mean all the difference between a lap in the 14s and a lap in the 15s.
Exactly, and I mean, this track used to be a dirt track way back when in the olden days, and it feels like they literally just paved right over all the dirt there and said, okay, that's going to leave it there. We're going to leave all the whoop section and everything on this track, but and it's a short track, but it's not a quarter mile, it's not a half mile, it's like this awkward, just a little bit more than third mile. It's not quite banked, but it's not flat, it's a bowl because you have banking in the straightaways at 8 degrees. You have corner banking between 12 and 14 degrees at this track. And that's another aspect that tends to bite you. It's on that corner exit. Depending on that banking change, how much throttle can you put into these Xfinity Series machines to keep the car under you? That's one of the hard parts. Putting the throttle down, getting that momentum down these long, they're not short straightaways, but you want that momentum going down the straight. How do you do that? You get on the throttle. How do you spin out the car? Well, you get on the throttle. So it's a lose-lose situation at times.
We're also racing for a wonderful cause this evening, Extra Life with our friends at the Children's Miracle Network, raising money throughout the evening. You can see the Groovy donation gauge down at the bottom there as we try and reach our goal of $7,500 over the course of the evening. But make sure you stay tuned into chat. There's going to be all sorts of information coming your way, prizes, giveaways, but the biggest key, we are here to try and help the kids over this Halloween season.
And that's probably one of the best parts about this is, okay, yeah, it's racing, you want to win, but being able to give back to a great cause and help kids just have a fantastic Halloween. And I mean, Extra Life has done so much in so many different ways. It's a program of the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals with over 50,000 participants, and then brings in stuff like this to go out and just help kids have a phenomenal, in this case, Halloween. Since 2008, gamers have raised $87 million with over 17 million of that raised last year alone. And hey, we just want to be helping that and bring that up more. And I mean, It's going to be fun for these competitors to race on track. It's going to be fun to watch us beat and bang, or watch them beat and bang on track. Maybe me and James Pike will as well. I'm not sure. I got the helmet, so I think I'll win. But being able to do this for a cause and everyone donate to this cause and have some phenomenal racers out here, both in the real world and in the sim world. This is going to be a show at one of the most difficult tracks on the entire iRacing service.
Also, Devin, guess what?
What
Unless
you got?
I'm nuts. Unless I'm nuts. Is that the Halloween machine that I see on the racetrack, perhaps? Is he there? Look. The Halloween machine has arrived, and our friendly ghost is setting laps here and trying to make sure that he doesn't lose control of the car in 1 and 2. But I can say I managed to get access to some tapes of some old races from way back in the day. And I can affirm, as those who saw the video to introduce the Groovy Hollow 200 might have found about already, I can tell you that 31 car, pretty stout here, to say the least. The Halloween machine has won a tremendous amount of races at Groovy Hollow Raceway, and time in, time out, week after week, race after race, there are a lot of people that came to challenge the Halloween machine at this racetrack. Aren't really too many people that can say they beat the Halloween machine here.
No, and I mean, first of all, it's spooky to look at in the first place. And when you have this black and green monster, let's assume that he's in your rearview mirror. I mean, I don't think many people are going to have that situation tonight. But when he is behind you, you go, oh man, are you kidding me? I can't. And then to pass him? Really? I mean, this is one of the best drivers when it comes to not only winning in this kind of car, in, I don't know, late model kind of cars. I mean, this is his track. He came back with this track, honestly. So, oh man, I want to know who can go out and give him a challenge, because when you're one of the best at a track that's so difficult like this, I mean, it becomes so difficult just to put a competition up against him.
He's just really, really tough to beat here. That being said, it's not like the drivers who are in to challenge the Halloween machine this evening are any slouches either. They had to run qualifying races to get here, so it was not necessarily an easy time to get a spot to go up against the number 31. Of about 50 or so that entered, only somewhere in the ballpark of 30 made the cut tonight. So if we're going to see the Halloween machine fall, I would think this is the night, this is the field, because we have drivers who've already proven themselves here at Groovy Hollow.
Yeah, we have some phenomenal sim racers in this event. We have some phenomenal real-life racers as well. We all know Spencer Boyd in Young's Motorsports. He's out here in this race. Jordan Anderson, that was my first guess. They're like, oh, the spooky 31. I'm like, it's Jordan Anderson. No, because he's already in this race. So we got a couple of real-life stars who we have in this race. A couple of stars who are phenomenal just on the iRacing service. So I think that this is some of the best to go out and try to get a win at Spooky Hollow and knock this ghost off the podium.
Just looking down the list of drivers who have been around and have some notoriety, whether or not it's in real life, you've got Jordan Anderson here from Jordan Anderson Racing. You've also got Spencer Boyd running in this race as well, drivers in the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series, but also some people from the sim racing side who have come out to Groovy Hollow, and folks who are notable across the sim racing community and across the NASCAR community. Let's see, Darian Gilliam is in tonight's race. Mo Perry is here. Malachi Drake is racing in this, amongst others. So nice little mix. Brandon Paunetto, lots of folks that are going to come in and try to take down the Halloween machine. But that's, again, at this place in particular, that's a task.
And when I look at this race, as we see the Halloween machine right there, my biggest concern is the fact that it's 200 laps and you have 2 sets of tires on pit road. So from a strategy perspective, what does this mean? First of all, we are at a 3rd mile track, which is notorious for danger and craziness. Do you try to save one of those 2 sets for the latter part of this race to have fresh Goodyear rubber on that machine? Or do you set yourself up to be in the front? It's so difficult to pass here, James. You do not want to get stuck. If there's 10 to go and you're outside the top 20, congrats, you have a set of tires. Bye. See ya. Doesn't matter. So the strategy of having fresh rubber over 200 laps to begin with is a big deal, but you only got two. You only got two, plus what you start with. So strategy to me is going to play a big factor in who wins this race, because utilizing that fresh rubber correctly and timing it right, I think that's going to pay dividends for these drivers if they can knock that nail on the head.
I think you have a valid point there, but before we go racing, let's bring Eric back in, because Eric, there's a lot of stuff going on here at Groovy Hollow outside of the race. And if people want to donate to Extra Life, and if they want to stick around for some of the giveaways that are going to take place over the evening, how can they get involved? How can they donate? And how can they get their name in the hat to potentially win some of the prizes we're giving away this evening?
Absolutely. And by the way, I love both of your costumes quite a bit. The cloak, or not the cloak, the collar, the high collar, absolutely fantastic. Got to prevent any further vampire bites getting in there. But absolutely, folks, we've already got nearly half of our Groovy donation gauge that you can see right over there. Underneath Devin right there. So we've already gotten a ton of very generous donations that we really appreciate. On lap 20, roughly right around lap 20, we'll be giving away several of these Out of the Groove bags. That'll be our first big giveaway of the night. And all you have to do to get in the drawing for this is donate $10 to Extra Life. So we'll be giving away a few of those here shortly. You can click that top link down below in the description if you're watching on YouTube to donate. Really do appreciate everybody coming out so far and showing the support. It's been quite impressive. Before we haven't even started the race. The race is still a couple minutes away, and we've already nearly halfway filled up that Groovy gauge. So really do appreciate everyone. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. Should be a fantastic and a very spooky show here that we're about to get started with.
Also, a lot of fog, a lot of moisture in the air too, just to add to the element of spookiness. I think I checked. Yeah, heavy fog and humidity cranked all the way up here at Groovy Hollow, 100%. So even, when we might come out of this tube a little later and get maybe a more real life sort of camera shot of Groovy Hollow, but it's still going to be spooky because, again, Devin, it is spooky season.
Exactly. Spooky season, spooky time, Spooky Hollow, reappearing along with the ghost. So, hey, you don't just fully emerge out of the fog. The fog comes with you and puts a haze over everyone else. And so it's just fitting that we have this kind of atmosphere at Spooky Hollow.
To Eric's point, I did try and protect myself as much as I could. Collared shirt, collar of the neck. I who knows what vampires, ghouls might be floating around here. I wouldn't be surprised, but I thought just a little bit of extra protection might help. Although, I don't know, I'm wondering if this cape might trip me up if I have to run. I remember watching a certain kids movie once upon a time where they made a
no capes.
Yeah,
no capes.
No capes. Right. So we've been down that road before, I guess. But at least tonight, I think I'll be okay. I just don't know if it's going to protect me from the speed of the Halloween machine, because I don't know if anybody.
Nothing will.
Yeah.
Nothing will.
Yeah, that's I can't argue that in the slightest, but just about a minute or so before we get going for this Out of the Groove Groovy Hollow 200, and lots of fun to have. Before we get going with the race, Devin, let's talk a little bit about Groovy Hollow.
Yeah, this track here, we already mentioned a little bit. It's kind of awkward because it's not this half mile, it's not this quarter mile, it's not even a third mile. I can't even put a fraction on it. It's 0.363, whatever that math works out to. That ain't me though, but when you come to a track like this, it's not quite a bowl. 8 degrees of banking on the front straightaway, 8 degrees on the back straightaway. You never really stop turning the wheel to the left at some point, even though these straightaways are still somewhat long. 14 degrees of banking in 1 and 2, 12 degrees in 3 and 4 to help catch you and carry that momentum. Along with that, though, I see 2 lines potentially being a way to navigate this track and be able to, at the very least, if you won't pass on the outside, you can certainly defend on the outside. 200 laps tonight. We will have 3 stages in this race, a halfway caution. So when you look at how difficult this track is with the humidity up to 100%, it's hard enough to keep this thing straight in the corners. It's another thing to keep those rear tires under you on corner exit to ensure you will safely navigate 200 laps at Spooky Hollow.
There's also a bit of a uphill-downhill factor to this. We know the Legend of North Wilkesboro in real life, how turns 1 and 2 are down into the hill, and 3 and 4 sit a little bit higher. Groovy Hollow Raceway is set up the same way, where turns 1 and 2 are lower in elevation than turns 3 and 4. So you will have the car land a little bit more down at the first part of the lap, and it will get tricky to get off that final corner. In the second half, as you come back around to the start-finish line, there's a little bit less banking up there too, so drivers are going to have to be careful and tiptoe their way around the front. But at this point, time to run through the starting grid and tell you where your favorite drivers will take off for this Groovy Hollow 200 here at Groovy Hollow Raceway. Your pole sitter for the evening is Brandon Paulnetto, who set a pretty fast time in practice of 14.885. Mo Perry will start in the second position. Third on the grid is Rhett Tucker. The Ghost, the Mystery Machine, will start in fourth. Spencer Boyd rolls off from P5. Darian Gilliam will roll off sixth.
Zach Henry will roll off inside of row number 4 alongside Randall Nichols. Casey Wood will start off in the 9th position. Aaron Miller to his outside. Malachi Drake starts just outside the top 10. He will open things up from P11. Jeffrey Brewer rounds out your first 6 rows.
Jeff Bergener starts from 13th. 14th is Daniel Miglin. Philip Scott and Joshua Boschaman in 15th and 16th. Isaiah Cash and Ty Richter completes the top 18 drivers.
Dalton Kilroe starts in P19 in the number 7 machine. How about Jordan Anderson from Jordan Anderson Racing starting off in the 20th spot? Matt Kentfield starts inside of row 11 alongside Tim Combs. Travis Holfer and Tiny Horse Johnson make up the first 12 rows.
Joseph Kraut, Avery Schwab, Jason Malewin in here, as is Broderick Johnson, Dylan Aldernick, and Jacob Olinger. Your 30-car field this evening here at Groovy Hollow Raceway. Tonight, we go for 200 laps. We'll have 3 stages at 40 laps and at 60 laps and at 100 laps. We're going to be throwing yellow flags. The caution will be thrown at any point once the driver running in 10th at that point hits the first lap. And stage 1 and 2 winners will receive a bonus of $50. Also, at the end of each stage, a random number will be drawn from 1 to 10, and we will invert the top 10 from that number. It's a fixed setup. These drivers are racing adjusted to 35% fuel tanks. Drivers will have 2 fast repairs available and 3 sets of tires total, 1 on the cars already and 2 in the pits. We will have lucky dogs, we will have wave arounds, and 3 attempts at a green-white checker at the end of this if we need it. So we'll have a caution at lap 40, a caution at lap 100, and then a 100-lap final stage to wrap this up. But it is about time to bring Groovy Hollow back to life once again. Brandon Paulnetto, the pole sitter, and the mystery driver, the Ghost, as we'll refer to him until we find out who he is, will start in the 4th position as Paulnetto gets ready to lead this field out of turn 4. Step on the gas pedal, and Groovy Hollow rises once again as they nearly wreck right on the opening start. But we are underway with the Out of the Groove Groovy Hollow 200.
Rhett Tucker immediately jumps to the inside and puts that red and white number 43 to the point. And boy, Paulnetto is stuck on the outside and fading fast.
Fading fast indeed. There was a lot that happened on that initial start. Tucker got to the inside of Paulnetto and wasted no time. Meanwhile, I saw Mo Perry run a little bit back there further in the K-Seal machine. He got stuck, ended up in trouble, and ran all the way up to the high line. Lost the start as everybody's fired their engines courtesy of K-Seal, but yellow flag out. Jason Malewin is in trouble over in turn 4.
First casualty of the night coming up on the front straightaway, rather, just before the start-finish line. And this is just some classic Spooky Hollow 2x2 racing. Take a look back here on our Spooky Hollow replay machine momentarily and see what exactly got him in trouble and facing the wrong direction on the front straightaway after a lot of drivers there were bouncing back and forth, switching spots to see the white and blue number 17 machine on the inside. This is going to happen here on the next lap. He's got that black and green number 62 in front of him. We'll see him come through down the back straightaway. And this is where the 17 gets in trouble. Wants to make this pass here on the outside. Kind of starts to come back down. The 62 comes up, and even that slight contact puts the rear end into the outside wall. So not how you want to start this race here at Spooky Hollow with already a damaged race car.
Yeah, now damage isn't going to kill you here at Groovy Hollow, but it's definitely not going to be the best of things at this point. So, early incident here. Let's bring in Eric Estep once again. Eric, quick yellow here. You had a feeling we might have some early yellow flags in this race, and lo and behold, we only get a handful of laps in before we get our first yellow in the Groovy Hollow 200.
Absolutely. This place, as they used to say, it used to eat race cars back in the day. We've already seen its first victim served up on a silver platter. We can go and get on with our first round of giveaways. We've already gotten so many very generous donations. So the first group of fans who will be winning Out of the Groove color scheme designed cinch bags, as I was showing off earlier, and as you can hear in the microphone, sounds lovely. We have Tony, Charles, the Pumpkin King. I'm basing this off of the emails I've seen. James and Chris, you all will be getting emails by the end of the evening, by the end of the race, to claim your prize. So keep those. Sorry, now I'm on screen. You crumble this into the microphone. Sounds fantastic. But yes, first 5 winners getting some Out of the Groove bags. We've got tons more of these to give away. We'll be giving away some die casts and t-shirts and polo shirts as well at the stage breaks. So keep those donations coming, folks. We really do appreciate it.
Should be a lot of fun, I think, to see who wins those prizes over the course of the evening. But as it stands, lights are off the pace truck. Rhett Tucker gets us back underway. We're green flag racing in the Groovy Hollow 200, and he got a good jump that time, clear of Zach Henry by maybe a car length or 2.
He got a good jump on the opening start. That's what propelled him to that lead right off the gate, and now everyone just trying to find wherever they can jump back into whatever situation they find themselves in. The front few drivers are kind of single filing out pretty quick, but everyone else, for the most part, boy, they are just bobbing and weaving at this point.
That first 5 have strung out nicely, so they're in good shape. First battle on the racetrack, you have to go back to P5. Malachi Drake fighting with Daniel Miglid, those two racing for what would be 7th and 8th on the racetrack. And waiting in the wings are Aaron Miller and Jeff Bergener, who are just trying to figure out who's going to win that battle. But I think that might have been Miglin's call to say, you know what, I want this spot. Let's just sort this out and make this easy. So he'll go up into P7. They'll go single file behind him, and that means that our first battle now sits in 15th, where Tim Combs is fighting Philip Scott.
Now, one of the big headlines here to me, James, is that the Ghost wanted to get himself some extra difficulty here. He turned up the difficulty level. The Ghost started on pit road for this race, dead last. He's already up to P24, picking his way through the field.
What does that say about the Ghost confidence, I think? That he believes in himself so much that he said, you know what, I'll take the front-to-back challenge and just see if I can beat everybody here, given how well he knows this racetrack. And all of a sudden, picking his way through, you get a good look at him there on screen, the Halloween machine, the number 31, just clipping all spots one by one. Gonna have to fight with Spencer Boyd here for a minute, who may be a little bit more well-equipped to race against the Halloween machine. He's one of the few drivers that has experience going up against the Halloween machine in this field. But as it stands, our Ghost sits in 22nd at the moment, trying to run his way back towards the front and get back to Rhett Tucker, who is in control of this race. Otherwise, a little bit of action further up in the fields, as Philip Scott is the one car stuck on the high line. You see the Halloween machine working his way through there, but Philip Scott just ahead of this bunch, the one driver who's stuck on the outside and at risk of getting freight train.
Yeah, and that's something where I think that the outside can become a viable spot to hold other drivers off, because in part, temperature's not too bad. 65 degrees outside, 67% degree track temperature. So it's not like you're having to fight those really loose and slippery conditions, but you see the 19 and the 47 so far up the track. That kind of surprises me with Johnson up there as well. It's not really a viable position to use, and they're just kind of I don't know if they're going with the flow right now or if they really want to be 2 or 3 car widths above the car under them. But I definitely think that you can hold drivers back on this outside lane, but they're kind of taking that to a new extreme.
The one thing about this place, and the one thing that can play into the advantage of the drivers up top, is I saw somebody go sideways a little bit further back, and indeed, yellow flag is out on the racetrack. I think Avery Schwab might have been the one who actually, no, take that. Well, no, I believe we got a whole bunch of people back in at this stage. It was actually Broderick Johnson who went around. So let's take a look at what happened to Broderick Johnson in this Toyota Supra and see what brought out our second caution of the evening.
Taking a look, coming off of turn number 4, that white number 47 just gets a nudge from the 6, and that's all it takes to bring out the caution stop there on the inside. So Now has to regroup, and Johnson will tag the tail of the field.
That looks like a case of potentially crossing apexes in different lines on corner exit. We've seen a few cases, especially at Groovy Hollow, where drivers will get on the gas at different points in the corner, and I think Paul Netto was just ready to get off on the gas and go for it more than Broderick Johnson, and so he ends up in trouble and goes around. Eric Eustep, another yellow flag. We seeing everything play out according to plan. Are you surprised at how much they're strung out at the front of this field, perhaps?
Yeah, perhaps just taking it easy. I mean, we did hear from Ryan Vargas in the pre-race, if you're up front, you want to protect that track position. You're not going to take any super unnecessary risks, at least at this early stage. But I will remind everyone watching at home, and perhaps everyone in the field, that at the end of stage 1, which ends in just right now 16 laps, lap 40, there's a $50 payout to the winner of the stage. And the same goes for the end of stage 2 on lap 100. So there's reasons to be working through the field quickly. I think obviously all eyes are on the Halloween machine, who, as y'all mentioned, chose to forego his up front starting position to maybe make things a little more interesting, but clearly flexing some of his supernatural muscle early on in this race. And the folks in the chat continue to lob in their suggestion or lob in their guesses as to who it is. Hopefully we'll get an idea of who it is. I have to imagine some of these drivers, all these eyes on Groovy Hollow, someone has to have seen who the identity of the mystery driver actually is, right? Hopefully we'll get a message from somebody here by the end of this race and we can find out once and for all who the driver of the Halloween machine absolutely is. But this has been a great race so far.
Yeah. I think we'll keep a caustic eye now on the Halloween machine and just see how he picks his way through the field. For this particular restart, he's going to be on the outside, so going to have to pinch some people down from the bottom, but everybody bunched up at the front. Rhett Tucker still in control as the pace car rolls off, and we are about maybe 15 laps and change away from our first stage break as Tucker goes back to green flag racing with the rest of the field in the Groovy Hollow 200 on out of the groove. A nice shot from Randall Nichols on the outside to stay with them, and it's the best restart so far from anybody in that second spot, Devin.
Yeah, I mean, heck, Tucker had a better initial start from the third position than anyone's had from second so far today, but unfortunately for Nichols, he's just going to slide back in there now. Luckily, Zach Henry gives him enough space, and now again, your leaders just go back single file. I'm really actually surprised and kind of happy about the patience that these front guys are showing early on.
I don't necessarily know if it's patience so much as it is necessity, as we see a little bit of action for the background P5, and now a battle for the race lead as Randall Nichols has managed to get to the inside of Rhett Tucker to go for what would be our second lead change of the evening after Tucker muscled Mo Perry out of the way to take the lead at the very beginning of this race. Tucker now stuck on that outside. We'll see whether or not he can hang tough out there, but not quite. Randall Nichols now the point in the Groovy Hollow 200.
Here we go. Randall Nichols up front, and he's still, or a lot of drivers still under attack in the back side of this race. Nichols, though, gets a little bit of a bump, nearly spins it around, did a phenomenal job saving that. Now Tucker is in the grasp of Zach Henry.
Was about to say that Tucker checked up so that he wouldn't run into Randall Nichols, and all of a sudden that gave Zach Henry the opportunity to go underneath Tucker as Tucker gives another bump to Nichols once again, 2 laps in a row. They've made contact in 3 and 4. All the while, Mo Perry has settled in nicely after that opening restart miscue, and he sits in 4th as Tucker continues to try and beat the rear bumper off of Randall Nichols.
Tucker wants that lead back really bad. Nichols in that blue and white number 18. Tucker in the red and white number 43. And Zach Henry just sitting back there, almost had a chance to take away that second position, but left it alone. And hey, I've seen Mo Perry race in a few big races. This top 4 is now starting to move away from the rest of the field. And Perry's got one of my favorite looking cards out there with the orange and blue going on. So we will see if that number 66 has anything in store, because for Perry, he's someone who started in that second position. Now just has to sit back and wait.
I do like the spot that the KCL Ford Mustang is in at this stage. He's just sort of sitting and hanging out and waiting, biding his time. You've got a few laps to go if you want to try and make something happen. But remember, if they get into each other up front, it can create the opportunity, and we've seen at tracks like Groovy Hollow before, for people to get underneath the incident happening in front of them and claim 1 spot, 2 spots, 3 spots. So there may be a chance here. There may be a chance for Mo Perry to get some spots, yeah.
And that's why you sit there, and that's why you wait, right? But when you look at the rest of this top 10, Pike, I am getting nearly shocked. Dalton Kilroe started. Oh, caution flag is out now.
trouble indeed, and it's Jordan Anderson who went around in turn number 4. We'll take a look and see what happened momentarily, but looks like there may have been contact with another driver. Might have been, I believe, Joseph Kraut. Take a good look here as they come around 2, down on the back straightaway into 3. Contact happens right about there. Yep. I think another crossing Apex's case where Anderson was coming down, Kraut was coming high, nothing that they could have done, and looks like there was a little bit of damage that Dylan Alderink took as well.
And that's just something that when you come to a short track like this is so difficult to get a good perspective on, right? Everyone has different braking points, everyone has different acceleration points, and then of course changing up your corner entry and corner exit. This is a fixed setup series, so you are still having to find a way to get yourself accustomed to this car, save tires, and then adapt to the car, the tires, and how it grows over a run. So I think that's part of what we're seeing, and it's only going to get worse as we go deeper into this race with the tires growing older.
We also do have confirmation that with the early yellow, race control decided to end stage 1 as it stands. So, Eric Estep, I do believe, if my math is right, I'm no mathematician, but I think Randall Nichols just picked himself up $50, no?
$50 for Randall Nichols. That was some outstanding racing there among the top 4. A little bit of bumpers. If there's such a thing as a respectful bump and run, I feel like that's what we saw here in the early stages. But you could tell that stage win meant a lot to these drivers. So great racing up front, some good racing further on deep in the field. Hate it for my boy Jordan Anderson that he got turned there at the end of the stage, but looked like not too much damage. He'll be back and ready to bounce back. In just a few moments, we'll be ready to give away even more great Out of the Groove and Lionel Racing stuff, so keep those donations coming, folks.
We'll have a little bit of time here after this first stage to line up things. Also, of note, I saw in chat that somebody thinks that Casper is the one that is the ghost in the number 31 car, which...
That can't be because his last name is his first name, obviously.
Right. I don't think it's Casper, but we'll see if we can figure out who the ghost is in a little bit. We're going to take a quick break, though. We'll be back in just a few moments with more action from Groovy Hollow Raceway and the Out of the Groove Groovy Hollow 200.
With a 40 multi-process welder, the one can complete almost any welding job in your shop. MIG, DC TIG, or stick weld with one machine. Find more information on the 4220 multi-process welder at 40ind.com.
Back here at Groovy Hollow Raceway in the Groovy Hollow 200 here on Out of the Groove. And Eric, are we set here now that we've got some time to maybe give away a few more items and let some people go home some happy winners?
Absolutely. I think as of now, we've got our first 3 winners of the Noah Gregson Lionel 124 scale diecast. So we really appreciate everyone who's been donating so far. We've got more of these to give away later on, but the first 3 winners of the diecast go to Josh, Mimi, I hope I'm saying that name correctly. Again, be sure to check all of your emails. You'll be getting notified by the end of the evening. And Jack. So those are the 3 first winners of the Noah Gregson Lionel diecast giveaway. Keep those donations coming, folks. We're roughly halfway. I don't have the exact number in front of me. I think, yeah, we're more than, like exactly halfway, I believe, to our goal of $7,500. And we're just now at the end of stage 1. So we really do appreciate all the support. Keep them coming. It's all for a great cause, all going to Extra Life and the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. So we really appreciate it.
And make sure you click that link at the very top of the description here on Out of the Groove to donate to Extra Life. Once your donation comes in, you get a little notification on stream. So if you want the opportunity to be part of the Groovy Hollow 200 broadcast, that's the easiest way to do it. Hit that link there at the top of the description. Donate some money to Extra Life, who does an incredible amount of good work with the Children's Miracle Network and gets people involved through video games to help rehabilitate and get back to normal life. A good look there at Randall Nichols in the lower right portion of your screen, who looks pretty chill at the moment out in front. And I also think that I'd be remiss not to point out, especially since there's a very soft spot in my heart. Devin, I don't know about you, but I definitely envy the folks that are coming away with the Noah Gregson diecast, because I'll admit that's how my career started. I would call races of my own on the living room floor with what were Lionel Racing predecessor diecasts, and the folks at Lionel have done just a good job sort of keeping up that tradition. So I in particular am very, very jealous of those folks. But a lot of good prizes being given out tonight, whether or not it's anything from Lionel or Jordan Anderson Racing, Out of the Groove, NASCAR pole position. A lot of great partners represented this evening.
Yeah, and you and me are a little different. I would use the couch, not the floor. Now, when I did get some die-cast monster trucks, that's when I had to move to the hard tile. I had to have a big enough track. But, yeah, it's so cool to have Extra Life with us. And just a little bit more on what they do. What are you donating to? Well, Extra Life funds critical treatments of pediatric medical equipment. They ensure that hospitals can provide charitable care to those in need, and also they take care of specialized services that's not covered by insurance, which I think a lot of us know can be very difficult when you run into those sticky situations. So all the money donated goes to Extra Life to go and help primarily those 3 causes for children across the nation. So that's something where being able to have someone to help in all of those, that helps a lot for a lot of people. I happen to know one of those very in particular. So yeah, a very cool way to donate money, enjoying this race right now. And being able to donate to them, we see, yeah, like Eric said, we're just getting over halfway over there on the Groovy donation gauge. So fun to have. Thank you all for your donations as David Robinson donates $50. Thank you, man.
Awesome stuff there from David Robinson to chip in $50 to Extra Life. In the meantime, we also know that there's going to be a redraw amongst the top 10 for the second stage. We're going to shuffle the order a little bit. So waiting to see whether or not we've got any confirmation as to what that number will be. We're going to hang tight. Just make sure we get word from race control as to where we're sitting. But looks like we're going to have a few folks get shuffled. And Randall Nichols might have won that first stage, Devin, but he might not be starting in front once we go green for the second stage.
Yeah, and what's been interesting to me are the guys blowing through the field who now might get stacked up in this. Dalton Kilroe started in 19th. He's moved up to the 7th position. And then you also have Jeff Bergener. He started in 13th. He's up to P6. But how about Tiny Horse Johnson? He might get stuck in this invert. He started 24th. He is up to the 10th position. He's the hard charger right now in this race. And that's a miraculous gain at a track as difficult as Spooky Hollow.
Also do have confirmation from folks that the number is 4. So we're going to see shuffling amongst the top 4 drivers in this field, and we will go back to green flag racing. As we're sitting here, Eric, any other observations from the opening 50 laps or so of the Groovy Hollow 200 that you want to touch on, point out that we haven't brought up already?
Well, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, actually, but I do want to harp on it again. I feel like there are, to an extent, multiple lanes of racing, or at the very least, you can defend from that outside lane, which is not something I think we necessarily expected right off the bat, but so far, I've loved what I've seen. A lot of side-by-side racing, especially for a tight short track like this. It's been great. It's been very, very exciting. And actually, real quick, before we go back to green, we actually have just a few more things to give away. I forgot, stage 1, we have a ton of stuff to give away, including these Out of the Groove Podcast Network t-shirts. David and Blue will be each winning an orange Out of the Groove Podcast Network t-shirt. I keep holding it up sideways. There it is. There you go. There you got it. I have a very narrow column here. And also more winners of those Out of the Groove bags. The I Can't Drive email, they're getting one. Mark, the Village Dude, Dennis, and Timothy will all be getting Out of the Groove bags as well. So we'll do a bunch more giveaways during stage 2 and after stage 2. So keep those donations coming, folks, and keep an eye on your emails. If you are, in fact, one of the winners, you'll be getting notified by the end of the evening.
Can you be all that blue if you're getting a t-shirt that orange for free, Devin? Just a passing question there.
I don't know if that's up to me, Pike. I really don't.
I mean, I would think that if you're getting an Out of the Groove Podcast Network tee of all things,
I mean,
I don't know. I'd almost be. I am green with envy. I don't know if I'd get green with delight or maybe orange. I don't know what the
blue.
What the right. No, it can't be blue because blue's sad, right? So, anywho. So we've shuffled around the top 4. We've got some folks starting in new spots. Looks like Dalton Kilroe will be the leader coming to green this time once we go back racing and get going with stage number 2. And lights are indeed off on the pace truck, so we should be pretty close. Or not. Lights are back on the pace truck. So we'll keep our eyes peeled and see when the lights go off. But it looks like we're pretty close to go back green flag racing.
And I just mentioned how Dalton Kilroy was like back in, 7th-ish. He was up 12 spots or 14 spots, whatever it was. That was great. But now apparently since he got that perfect invert spot, all the work that he did going from 19th to where he was before this caution has now automatically put him back into now the first position. So all that hard work paid off to an extent that he probably was not ready for. But now just like that, Kilroy is up on P1 for this restart. How about the work ethic making this work?
Lots of work to do, though, especially when we saw how tricky it is, especially for the drivers on the outside to get a restart at Groovy Hollow. We saw what happened to Mo Perry at the beginning of this race, totally spun the tires up on that high line. So whether or not anybody can make it stick up there, we're going to find out. The person who is going to be in Mo Perry's position for this start of stage 2 is Malachi Drake. So it'll be on Malachi to make sure that he doesn't spin the tires, but it's Kilroy, Malachi Drake, Aaron Miller, Isaiah Cash, Darian Gilliam, and by the way, that Halloween machine that we keep on talking about, already up to 6th after starting at the very end of this field. Clearly have some speed as we go back to green flag racing, and a clear restart from our leaders as the front 4, maybe the top 5 here pretty quickly are going to settle in single file.
Yeah, that was quicker than I expected, but Kilroy did not want anything more than that. He's already eclipsed about a 3-car length lead here right off that initial green flag in the top, 6 or so? They're all single file, and then you get just outside the top 5, and guys are beating and banging. Spencer Boyd just flew up the track there to evade everything going on, and the 18 car turned around the wrong direction after leading, got the invert, and now in the wrong direction.
Taking a look at the replay here, I saw Jason Malewin as the first one who went around, and that's who we've got focused in the center of the screen, so we'll get a good idea of what started this. And yeah, looks like there was some contact between Malewin and I think that was Spencer Boyd up on the high line, but Malewin goes around right in the center of the track on the exit of the corner. Tricky spot there, and if anything, I'm a little surprised that we didn't have more people run into him. Looks like that might have been Ty Richter who got into Malewin as well, but everybody else, some way, somehow, some people more easily than others, I managed to sneak around him, and Malewin's really the only one that went terribly sideways and brings out another yellow flag. So, cars line back up. Eric, short track racing, another yellow flag, not a huge shocker?
Not a huge shocker, no, not at all. But hopefully we get a little bit longer green flag run here, because I think this top 5, top 6 is looking very, very interesting. That invert, some of the leaders going to the back there has really allowed for some newer players to have a shot at this lead. And that number 7 up front, driven by Kilroy, that is maybe my favorite. That might get my early vote for my favorite paint scheme on the track. Love the Halloween theme, looks fantastic. A lot of good cars though out there.
Yeah, we got a lot of good paint schemes. I'll admit, I do like this Aleve look that Malewin's got going on. It definitely reminds me. And Eric, I know you'll want to chime in here because we know you may or may not have a slight affinity for some guy from Cambridge, Wisconsin, who may or may not have run an Aleve number 17 in the Grand National Series back in the day. Wink, wink. Am I right?
I love it. I loved it more when the rear bumper cover wasn't completely knocked off, as people can see on screen right now. But that Lee, I always love seeing the gorgeous number 17 on track. Hopefully they come down to pit road right here and get some repairs and get that thing looking as gorgeous as it did when this thing got started.
Of note, since we're on the subject, Malewin does have one faster pair left. We haven't seen too many drivers take their faster pairs yet. Malewin's used one, Jordan Anderson has used one, Jeff Bergener has used one. Everybody else still has both faster pairs available. So we've got people who can turn their race cars into clean race cars once again, but I also have a feeling that means we might be in for a few more incidents as well. As now we get set to go racing. Lights off on the pace truck, green flag out once again, and Dalton Kilroy got a huge jump on the rest of the field, clear by 2 or 3 car lengths before he hits the first turn.
Boy, that car is looking great out front. Malachi Drake now just trying to claw his way back up. Meanwhile, battle for 5th. The Ghost is now moved into the 4th position. And just like that, the 12 machine of Isaiah Cass stuck in the black hole. Miglin now will look to go by. Spencer Boyd will look to follow as well.
Everybody just following the ghost, which honestly at this stage of the race might not be a bad idea. If you can sit behind the Halloween machine and learn how to run Groovy Hollow Raceway, you may have the opportunity to pick up a few things that you could use to potentially beat the Halloween machine at the end of tonight's race.
I mean, I don't know who this guy is, but I'm really looking. Hopefully someone figures it out, because he has been clawing his way, bobbing and weaving through the field, and just like that, he's up to the 3rd position after starting this race on pit road. Like, they went green, and then he decided to get off of pit road. It's not like he was at the tail of the field. He was even further beyond that. So, I don't know. You know I'll be taking notes.
He was a full half a tenth faster than Malachi Drake, who's just ahead of him, but yellow flag is out on the racetrack, and we have cars in trouble once again. And just based off of what I'm seeing on my screen, I think Jason Lewin's got into it and turned forward with somebody else.
Boy, this has been rough for Malewin. And hey, that number 17 machine, I think has seen better days as he's turned the wrong direction once more. And that will put Malewin now 2 laps down. Take a look back at this sketchy situation. Middle 3 wide, slides up the track. Oh, man, I couldn't quite catch the number on who that was, but...
That was, I believe, Jeff Bergener, who was up there on the high line. And yeah, it almost seemed like Malewin didn't even realize that he had a car high. It just sort of drove in through the center of the corner and was ready to go. But he goes around, Malewin goes around. Meanwhile, Eric Estev, you have more giveaways for the fans watching around the world.
Absolutely. That 17 car just cannot stay out of trouble, as gorgeous as it may look. But we do have 5 more winners of 5 more beautiful golden out of the groove. I'm so bad at this. Out of the groove bags. I would not be great on a game show. But Bryce, Joe, Patrick, Vincent, and Holly, you've all got some out of the groove Groovy Motorsports bags coming your way. So keep an eye on your emails. And thank you everyone who's donated so far. We've still got tons more to give away at the end of stage 2. We've got some more die casts, some more shirts, as well as plenty more of these bags to give away. So keep donating to Extra Life. That top link down in the description below. We all greatly appreciate it. It's all going to a great cause. So really appreciate the support so far.
And likewise, you can help fill up the Groovy donation gauge if you click the link at the top of the description to donate to Extra Life and the Children's Miracle Network. Raise some money for a great cause. Get kids involved in gaming as they rehabilitate. We know it can be tough, especially if you end up with some sort of extended illness or an extended stay in a hospital as a child. It's the last place you'd want any kid to be. So to have a great program like Extra Life that helps children in hospitals, really, really cool to see, and really awesome to see this event supporting Extra Life this evening.
Son of a gun. How many of these bags do we have? Like, has there already been like 100 given away and we're not even halfway through the race?
See, you say that, but here's the thing. This is my theory with cinch bags like that. A, they look great for starters, but B, you never quite know what you're going to use them for, and then you get them, and you look at a pile of something somewhere in your house or your apartment or your room or wherever you might be, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, actually, let me grab that and use that for this, and they end up becoming really useful. So
they are.
It's not necessarily something that I think you design a setup for, but you come in and you have a lot of things. If you just live and generally accumulate valuables and belongings, those cinch bags end up being very, very handy. So you go back to green flag racing here on lap 79 of 200. Kilrow didn't quite get the best of starts, but he is clear. Malachi Drake is clear, and here comes the Halloween machine on the inside to try and take away the runner-up spot.
That was a smooth crossover. Now door to door, taking away that second position. And just like that, the Halloween machine's out front. Issues for Spencer Boyd as Miglin bodies his way past the 67. Just like that, Avery Schwab will now take the inside on Boyd, and these guys are 2x2 and banging doors.
The Halloween machine has arrived at the front, and our mystery driver is wow. they almost ran over. I couldn't tell who that was initially, but there was a big incident over in 1 and 2 to bring out the yellow. That is Ty Richter, who was stuck in the middle of the racetrack, and the leaders nearly ran over Chevy Camaro.
Actually, one car did. Isaiah Cash ends up getting some major damage here as Richter was sliding back down. We'll see the initial contact here. Oh, man, just got on the gas too hard. Panetto has nowhere to go. The 9 holds the brake. Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake. Oh, he's coming back up the track, and that's where the calamity begins. Take a look on board, and it's so simple to do this. You just get on the gas too hard. Whoa, that was a big lick there. Panetto might have a little bit of damage on that right front that he'll have to fix.
Panetto's going to have a little bit of damage, but that goes back to the point that we made at the very top of the broadcast where, especially coming out of turn 4, because you're uphill coming downhill, you lose a little bit of that grip that you'd have, especially in comparison to the exit of turn 2. And you have to be a little bit more careful when applying the throttle on corner exit at that part of Groovy Hollow than you do coming out of turn 2. That's what I think happened to Ty Richter. Just a little bit too much gas, ended up in trouble, and now he is stuck in 29th, having finally gotten himself set up. I imagine he may get a wave round or two just to get back on the lead lap, but Richter with plenty of work to do. Meanwhile, Eric Estep, that was a close call for Dalton Kilrow, but also for our mystery driver. But how impressed are you with the 31 car coming from last to almost first at this point?
It didn't take them long at all to get there. But yeah, definitely a hold your breath moment right there when they came across the 9, perpendicular to the racing line. I want to give some love to the guy up front, though. I do want to give some love to Dalton Kilrow. You know, talking to him before the race, he mentioned that he's a pretty decent bowler. Says his high score is a 290, which I'm not a bowler, but I believe isn't 300 a perfect score, a perfect game? Mm-hmm. That's pretty fantastic. So I was going to bring that up because he's been up front so much. He hasn't really had to, bowl through the competition just yet. I know it's okay to laugh. It's fine. But he's up front right now, and I think that's where the place to be. But if he does get back in traffic, I think he's got something for everyone.
I think if we're talking about bowling and we're talking about sim racing, I think we'd be remiss not to make a point to Derek Justice, who bowls in a league regularly. So it's not like we haven't had drivers that have connections like that before. As you get a good look at Kilrow getting ready to go back green flag racing with his VR helmet as Kilrow takes up. But can he hold off the Halloween machine on the outside lane? That's the big question, Devin.
The mystery driver stuck on that right rear quarter panel very well, but cannot get that momentum off of turn number 2. Closes back in on that rear bumper, really utilizing a higher entry into the corner, then cuts down. You see that 31 car there, and you can see the gap close between the front bumper and the rear bumper. This is a very unique line. This is a fixed setup race, guys. So the 31, this is the only car doing this right now. Crosses over, looking to the inside into 1. Oh, took a giant dive in there. Does he have enough?
There was contact in 1 and 2. I saw it. We'll see whether or not the mystery machine heads up front. The Halloween car coming to the point, and to the inside of Dalton Kilrow goes the Halloween machine. The mystery driver is up front and in control of this Groovy Hollow 200.
Wow, from dead last, starting on pit road to P1 before we even reach the halfway point. The Halloween machine out front. Kilrow will now have to reset. Looks to cross over off of 2. Has some good momentum. And the Ghost decides to slam the door shut. They were oh so close a few times having contact. Meanwhile, this pair is just sailing away.
Faster than just about everybody else. Oh, by the way, the Halloween machine was the only car to run a lap in the 14-second range last time by, as the yellow flag comes out again. Trouble on the back straightaway, and I believe Tim Combs is the one who went around first.
Yeah, this was a giant stack up on the back straightaway. Spencer Boyd was the first one to turn around, but he got a little bit of help there as well as a few drivers get collected down the back straightaway. So we will see what happens here. Come off of turn number 2. Oh yeah, we're backing up big time. 67 goes around, the 5 goes around, and everyone else is just along for the ride. That's Tim Combs, but the first guy, boy, Spencer Boyd, that was just a massive pileup where numerous gentlemen there had nowhere to go. A couple of other drivers just had to drive through them. On board here with Jordan Anderson. Take a look at what he sees here coming down the back straightaway.
Get a good look at Jordan Anderson's on board. You'll see just what happened here coming out of the right-hand side of the screen. You see everybody just sort of trickling around. This, I think, is probably the lap before. And oh, wow. Ooh, not much you can do if you're Jordan Anderson. You just get stuck in that spot. But race control control has been the incident on Travis Heffler. So Heffler gets the end of line penalty. He'll go to the back of the field, and word from race control is that this is going to be the end of stage 2. So Eric, I don't know if the Halloween machine has a bank account. I figure it's probably a while since our mystery driver has been to an actual bank branch, but I guess he gets $50, or would it go to Dalton Kilrow, since we know that Dalton's got a bank at some point, but somebody's getting $50, right?
We'll have to figure that out for sure. But what a race. Yeah, wasn't sure if that was going to be the end of the stage or not. But you can see just how strong that 31 is, just how strong the Halloween machine is. While we have a moment, I do want to mention, you saw in that replay a few paint schemes, notably on the 47. We had a slight glitch, it appears. The 47, the Alka-Seltzer number 47, and the Luber plate number 52 don't appear to be showing up. So we just wanted to show those partners some love. They've been some great supporters of AE Engine, of the Halloween, of the Groovy Halloween race, so we want to give them a shout out, even though there was that small glitch. But we do have some more giveaways to do during this stage break. We'll start this first round. We've got some more Noah Gregson Lionel Racing diecast to give away, and Tyler, Chris Taylor, and Michael will be getting each getting a Noah Gregson diecast. So we've got some more shirts and bags to give away here shortly, but really appreciate everyone donating. We're more than halfway to our $7,500 goal. I thought that might be too high. I thought, oh my goodness, is anyone even going to come out tonight? This track has been abandoned for decades. Is anyone even going to know this race is happening? I've been blown away. I think we've all been blown away by the support so far. So really appreciate, keep it coming, and we'll have more to give away very, very soon.
The fans, or maybe shall we say ghouls and goblins, I'm not quite sure who's populating the stands, but
vampires.
Yeah, maybe vampires. So, but a lot of folks have come out in force to support Groovy Hollow. So we'll take a quick break here. We'll be back with more racing action in just a few moments from the Out of the Groove Groovy Hollow 200.
The Forney 220MP multi-process welder can complete almost any welding job in your shop. MIG, DC TIG, or stick weld with one machine. Find more information on the Forney 220 multi-process welder at forneyind.com.
Hello, Groovy Hollow race fans. My name is John Richter. I'm the Vice President of Sales of K-Seal, and K-Seal is very excited. Hello, Groovy Hollow race fans. My name is John Richter. I'm the Vice President of Sales of K-Seal, and K-Seal is very excited to be a part of this iRacing event, which is raising money for Extra Life, a Children's Miracle Network program. We hope you guys have a great time supporting this cause. Enjoy the racing tonight, and I wish everybody a very safe and happy Halloween. Personally, I think the K-Seal car is ready to take down the Halloween machine. So with that said, let's get this party started. Drivers, start your engines.
Welcome back to coverage of the Groovy Hollow 200 on Out of the Groove. And I wonder, Devin, I've heard a few rumblings over the last few moments, perhaps, maybe. Some news that may or may not have come our way as we complete our invert, and the lucky number for this stage is 6, by the way. We got that word from race control just a little bit ago. So top 6 have managed to get shuffled, and your leaders now enter pit road. But Eric, have you heard something too? It seems like Devin was in on it, so I don't know. Have you heard maybe a few names?
Yeah, during this stage break, I got an interesting radio communication from Jordan Anderson, who was involved in that last wreck. And actually, I'm hearing one last thing. Let me make sure I get the name exactly right. Folks, we know for sure who the mystery driver is. We now know, after years, decades of mystery, we know who the Halloween machine is. It's, many in the chat with eagle eyes were able to guess it, Josh Berry. That is the driver of the number 31 Halloween machine. You see him on screen right now. You saw him come from the back to the front in the first half to win Stage 2. Josh Berry, 2-time Xfinity Series winner in the Real World NASCAR Xfinity Series this year. Short track legend. It makes too much sense. We should have seen it coming from a mile away. No wonder Josh Berry is sticking it to the competition tonight. Now we know where he became the short track ace that he is. Groovy Hollow Speedway. This is going to be an insane final 100 laps or so. We'll see what happens if anyone's got anything for him.
Well, you know, that makes a lot of sense as you stop and think about it. I see chat going off. There are a lot of people that did have this right, but when we consider that there are more than a few passing resemblances between Groovy Hollow and Hickory Motor Speedway, we know how good Josh has been at Hickory. We know how successful he's been at that racetrack. So maybe not a huge surprise, Devin, then, that Josh Berry is running well here at Groovy Hollow.
You know, I don't know now that I know that that's Josh Berry. I feel like now, I thought at first if it was a real ghost, I wouldn't even want to be in this race. Now that I know it's Josh Berry, I'm really glad that I'm not in this race because I'm getting smoked right now. Josh, I mean, this is one of the best short track drivers in the nation right now. I mean, he just won at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the NASCAR Xfinity Series a couple weeks ago. And of course, he is a former bank teller, so he knows a thing or two about counting money.
A little bit, yeah. I was going to say $50 would not be hard for him to account for. Am I right? I felt like I needed to up Eric's game there. We had a few bad ones earlier, so I'm just going to keep that train rolling. But of note here, looking at, if we're comparing Groovy Hollow to Hickory, probably the closest track that I've seen, you look at Josh Berry's starts in the Cars Tour. He has, over the last 5 years, 5 poles and 4 victories, including the most recent race the series ran at Hickory, the Throwback 276. So, Josh Berry can get it done at a place like this. It makes so much sense in the world as to why he was able to go from the back to the front, because few people are better at a track like this than the man in control of the Halloween machine.
And not to mention, he's already good enough at iRace. You know, you don't need to take him to a track that is almost exactly like a track that he dominates at a regular basis, it seems like, but after all the pit stops, after the inversions, Josh Berry will restart in the 16th position. So we'll see what happens here if he's able to work his way up.
Lights are off on the pace truck. We're going to go back. Green flag racing for the final stage this time by. So whether or not we have more cautions, I don't know. We'll find out. But as it stands, Paul Netto stands on the gas pedal, and we are back to green flag racing in the Groovy Hollow 200. With Pawnetto and Tiny Horse Johnson in tow, and a yellow flag out before we get the chance to complete a lap. I wonder if Josh Beauchemin might have been the one involved.
Yeah, Beauchemin had some issues going into one. He didn't get to turn number 1 before all the chaos happened to him. At first, it looked like he was just fine, okay, was ready to go into turn 1, and then it only takes a little bit. That black and yellow number 99 machine, everyone's going, we're good. And I don't know if he misses a gear. I don't know if he's got old rear tires on that thing or what, but something on that machine said, whoa! Oh my gosh, the pace truck almost ate him. Son of a, these are some creepy ghouls here at Spooky Hollow. But that number 99 machine got grabbed by one of those concrete monsters and whipped around there all on his own.
I almost wonder, do the cars go through something like a haunted house where, you know,
this is a haunted house. It's a haunted racetrack, Pike. Get with it.
No, I know it's a haunted racetrack, but I wonder if, you know how if you're walking through a haunted house, you'll see, like, you know, people with just the red eyes that you see and their faces that are all hidden, or people that scream, grab you in the corner, or more importantly, the folks that'll sort of reach out and like grab a leg or grab an arm when you don't expect it. I wonder if that's what happened to the car there, and the wall monsters just reached out and grabbed the rear end corner and looped them around. Maybe, perhaps.
That's the only idea that I have, because that machine went wacko and the pace truck drove straight through him. Something that I've never seen at Real World Hickory before. So that must be a Spooky Hollow thing.
Maybe. I certainly wouldn't rule it out. Also of note, while we're here under the yellow flag, a reminder that if you want to get your name on the broadcast, go ahead and punch in the link there at the top of the description. That'll take you to the Extra Life donation page. You can see Arcane donating $20 there to help bump us up. Eric, we're closing in on 7,500. We're not quite where we want to be, but I have seen that number creep up over the course of the past few cautions.
Absolutely. Very, very much appreciate all the generosity tonight. That number continues to climb. And we actually do have a few more things to give away real quick while we have some time. Actually, I think they're coming to the green, so I'll be quick. But we have 2 winners of these Out of the Groove Podcast Network polo shirts, Chase and Spencer. And we have 5 more bags to give away. Caleb, Thaddeus, Rico, Cole, and David. Keep an eye on your emails. Thank you so much for donating to Extra Life.
Back to Green Flag Racing here at Groovy Hollow. Pawnetto trying to hold on to it, but Johnson with a good run on the outside lane, and he will take away the race lead from Pawnetto and go to P1.
Tiny Horse Johnson goes for a ride around the outside and puts himself back out front. And Rhett Tucker now looking for P2. That red and white number 43 machine had the lead early on before it was taken away from him, and now back on top of the podium, has a chance to get around Pawnetto. There's P2. Now his sights are set back on Johnson.
Tucker was the winner of the first stage and took the invert as one of the top 4 drivers, so he went backwards. And then you saw Josh Berry and company. I guess we know him now. We can't hide from him, but he went to the back as well. By the way, Josh already back up to 13th, so it's Johnson and then Tucker and then Pawnetto and then Gilliam running in the 4th spot, with Jeff Bergner running in the 5th position as they continue to shuffle around Groovy Hollow Raceway. Single file throughout the top 5, but good battle here just a little bit further back. I believe we can slide to Malachi Drake and Tim Combs. They've bounced together, and lots of movement there. I saw Broderick Johnson trying to work his way around Mo Perry, so lots of action towards the back half of the top 10.
Tim Combs was watching that black number 5 going, stay low, stay low, stay low. It's now Malachi Drake to the inside. Still door to door for that 10th position. Avery Swab and that Home Depot looking throw. And wait, am I allowed to say that? The Tony Stewart looking throwback. Right behind them, still looking onward as well as that 21 dives to the inside. Oh, a little tapping around goes the 5. Tim Combs able to save it, though. Kept that machine straight, and there goes Josh Berry around the outside.
I really don't know how they didn't wreck, because there were about 2 or 3 people that went sideways at that point. Yep, contact there ever so slightly between the 20 and the 5 machines and the Halloween machine that Josh Berry's pilot had to shuffle way up to the high line in order to make sure that he didn't get in trouble. But more importantly, you look at the rear bumper of Berry's machine, lots of damage to the rear end of his Chevy Camaro.
Yeah, he don't need it. He don't need it. He's fine. He good. That won't do nothing.
Whether or not that actually stands, we'll see. But I would be inclined to believe you're probably on to something with the speed that he's had. As Johnson continues to lead, those front 3 really have stretched it out. And it's really, I think, once you get to about Randall Nichols and Darian Gilliam that you find your first battle. Now here comes Mo Perry trying to chase down Gilliam, who's fallen through the order just a bit on the beginning of this 3rd and final stage.
All right, guys, I'm just getting in word. So this is Tiny Horse Johnson in the lead. I'm being told that he shares a nickname with the Miniature Pony, which I'm pretty sure that Miniature Pony loosely translates to Tiny Horse. And we got a caution out on the track right now, but also if we get a chance to see a camera there on Tiny Horse Johnson, supposedly he lost a bet and has a terrible haircut. So I don't know if we have a camera on him. I'd love to see it, and I would actually be very hurt if it was the same hair as mine. But anyway, that's what we're getting in from race control.
I think it is Philip Scott in the 19 who is responsible for this incident. A 360 over in 3 and 4 that you see the back end of there. We'll see if we can get another shot just to show you what happened. Maybe. A slight contact. Looks like he got help from Daniel Minglin in the 13 car. And here's a better look at the incident that played out to bring us under yellow once again.
Oh, yeah. Minglin really drove it in there, and just the slightest contact sends the 19 around. Wow. Phenomenal job by all of those drivers to not even get near the 19. Someone might have got a little bit of damage on that inside wall, but miraculous that more drivers were not collected in that.
It's our 8th caution of the evening. Pretty nice 360 there to make sure that we got to give some style points there to Philip Scott for making sure that he just stuck it in the gas and went around. And also of note, speaking of donations, Eric, I saw Danny B. Talks, good friend of yours, coming in, putting in a donation. A few more folks have donated under these yellow flags, so we're seeing a few more folks chip into Extra Life.
Getting closer and closer to that $7,500 goal. Again, keep them coming, folks. We'll be giving away 5 more of those beautiful Out of the Groove drawstring bags here shortly. And at the end of this race, by the end, we still have more Noah Gragson diecast to give away. We have a special Jordan Anderson prize pack. He wouldn't tell me everything that was in there, but apparently from Jordan Anderson Racing, there's going to be maybe some sheet metal involved, some signed sheet metal, a whole Jordan Anderson prize pack. Very, very exciting stuff. So it's going to be a good goodie bag from Jordan for the holidays. We've got a lot of great stuff still to give away by the end of this show. So really appreciate the donations to Extra Life. That top link down in the description below. Greatly appreciate it. All going towards a good cause. And right now we've got some really good racing up near the front of the field. I'm excited to see if Tiny Horse Johnson can hold off this field for 70 more laps.
Well, if ever there was a name to be successful at Groovy Hollow Raceway to take down somebody like Josh Berry, I gotta believe Tiny Horse Johnson's up there. That just sounds like a short tracker and somebody who's got tons of experience at places like this, Devin. As we go back to Green Flag Racing on lap 133, looks like Tucker spun the tires, and then all while Johnson to get a jump by about 2 or 3 car lengths.
Again, the leader flies away, but issues for the number 5 machine. Tim Combs is going to collect a couple of different drivers, and unfortunately, it includes Dalton Kilrow, who had such a phenomenal second stage. He will pick up some damage along with Brandon Ponetto. A big collection of drivers on the outside of turn number 2.
We'll get a look at the replay, but as I look back at it, that very much just seems like a case of Combs checked up to make sure he made the corner, and Kilrow was not ready for him to get on the brakes.
And that was a massive check by the number 5, and then I don't know if these guys just got bumped into from behind, but all of a sudden Isaiah Cash comes out of nowhere, and it looked like that car just stopped turning. So that's a little bit of chaos and calamity for a few drivers who really ran well so far tonight, but now they all have some very meaningful damage to those race cars, and it's hard enough to make it through the back to the front, but on board here, yeah, that car just swings to the right. Oh boy, and then he gets collected on the rear end too. Luckily, these guys have 2 fast repairs, so they're able to get some of these cars out into the graveyard and pick up a new one.
Lights are already off on the pace truck. We're going to go back Green Flag Racing here shortly as they get the front row set up. So everybody going to be quick, maybe not mentally prepared for this restart. We'll see if anybody makes a mistake just off the short yellow flag, but that actually looked, well, I was going to say a little bit cleaner, and then all of a sudden Jeff Bergener spun the tires and gave up the inside to Rhett Tucker, who will take over second now. Here comes Randall Nichols to try and get third.
Issues the number 13 machine, collects the number 5, and we're back under caution. Daniel Miglin lost it going into 1. Tim Combs got a good lick out of that one as well, and we are once more under caution, James Pike.
Miglin in trouble. Eric Estep, classic incident there. Just 2 drivers fighting for the same real estate, I think.
Yeah, I found, they got so strung out a couple runs ago that I think now everyone is really fighting even harder on these restarts. You've seen the 5 now has been in the bottom of 3 wide, was on the top of 3 wide, and he's been involved in a couple of incidents. What I'm curious is, I know we talked about Josh Berry, how dominant he was, how easy he made it look when he drove through the field in the first half of this race, but he's back there just inside the top 10. He's kind of in the danger zone. We noted the damage on the rear of that car. Josh Berry's probably the fastest car out there, best driver out there, but he's not in a great spot regarding track position. So all of these restarts, all of this aggressive racing behind and around him, gotta leave him a little nervous right now.
Also of note, since I think we've got them set, I wonder if we can get an eye on Broderick Johnson and see if we can get a good look at his machine as we get set to go back Green Flag Racing. But Johnson, we talked about there were a few issues earlier, so we see some more folks donating in. But Johnson, we couldn't quite see the beautiful Alka-Seltzer scheme on his car earlier, but I think we should have that now.
Ooh,
and we've also got the 52 machine as well as we go back to Green Flag Racing. But there's the 52, there's the 47. So Bergener and Johnson, who actually having a good run, 5th and 8th as it stands, as we go back to Green Flag Racing at Groovy Hollow.
That's a gorgeous chrome number 52 machine. And yeah, Bergener now in the 5th position. About to get under attack from Darian Gilliam as these guys not really settling things out very quick this time around. We're still 2 by 2, pretty deep into the field.
Very deep into the field indeed as Johnson goes, then Nichols, then Tucker, and then Bergner, who's up to the 4th spot trying to make moves. There's that 66 machine of Mo Perry on the high line who's trying to sneak in behind Darian Gilliam, and the Halloween machine of Josh Berry to the outside, continuing to pick off drivers and now up into the top 10, nearly the top 5.
Taking a look off the rear bumper of Darian Gilliam in that 5th position. That's Mo Perry there in the orange number 66. Thinks he sees a groove there. Can't quite fill that hole. Able to get the momentum, though. 3 wide as Josh Berry squeaks to the inside. 2 for 1.
Barry squeaks to the inside, but I saw Broderick Johnson smash the wall in 1 and 2. Yellow flag out again. We'll take a good look at what happened to Johnson and see just how tricky this was. But there was another incident earlier, and I forget who it was, but one car that went sideways and got on the gas a little bit too early in turn 4 and spun around. I think the exact same thing just happened to Broderick Johnson here on lap 145.
Spooky Hollow strikes again. A lot of cars heading to the graveyard tonight after being grabbed by those demons or whatever in the world is happening out there. Is back under caution again. We'll see what happens down in turn number 1. Number 47 machine sees the problems out in front of him there. I wish we had that Alka-Seltzer paint scheme on it. That looks absolutely gorgeous. Has to check up majorly for that 21 car going into 4, and then really just try to get back on the gas as hard as he possibly could and gets finished off there into turn number 1. Just like you said, Pike, it's just another example of using up those rear tires a little bit too much.
A little bit of problems there as everybody gets lined up. Eric Eastep, that was one of the biggest hits I think we've seen tonight.
Absolutely. Thankfully, everyone seems to be okay. In fact, some of these cars might still have some fast repairs, so they're not out of this race. But we're closing in on $5,000 raised for Extra Life. Really appreciate everyone's generosity tonight. We have 10. Count them, 10 more of these bags to give away, just like you were saying, Devin. These things just keep on coming. They literally grow on trees. We're just tossing them around right now. Elijah, Roberto, The Way to Never, Mitchell, J. I'm not sure how to pronounce this name. Starts with an N, so be sure to check your emails if your name starts with an N. Anthony, Backwoods Diecast, Cam, Gavin, and I think that's it. I think we have all of those. They're all getting out of the groove. Groovy Motorsports bags coming their way. We still have the big Jordan Anderson prize pack at the end of the race. More Noah Gregson diecast and probably more bags. I'll have to check my inventory, but I think we have more bags to give away, of course. So really appreciate all of the support tonight. And one thing I want to note about that 31 car, one thing that makes Josh Berry's Halloween machine more special is that exact paint scheme will be on track at Martinsville this weekend in the real world, so to speak. So this will not be the last we all see of the Halloween machine. He's still got 50 more laps to chase the win.
He does. And oh, by the way, remember that when we went to Martinsville in the spring, guess who won the race in the Xfinity Series? Yeah. Some fella named Josh Berry from Hendersonville, Tennessee, who happens to be very good at that racetrack. He's also won the Valley Star Credit Union 300, the big late model race that takes place at Martinsville and is the biggest race of its kind in the country. The best of the best in local short track racing take their late models to Martinsville at the end of September. Every year, you get somewhere in the neighborhood of 60, 70 cars trying to fight it out for their own grandfather clock. Barry picked up the win a few years ago in that race, so wouldn't be surprised if he sweeps at Martinsville, but we'll just have to wait and see how it pans out over the course of the weekend as Tiny Horse Johnson leads us back to green at lap 152.
Johnson able to get a little bit of a grip. Randy Nichols slides into second, and then Virginder, another car going around. This time it's the 90 machine. He gets collected by Tim. Bad day for Tim Combs, but Jacob Ollinger will now have to whip that 90 car back around. More issues tonight here. Just in the middle of the corner again, James.
Dalton Kilrow, I think the party responsible for sending him around and race control sent him to the back of the field for that incident. So pretty straightforward incident there. But Kilrow gets into the 90 car. You see right here, boop, just a little touch right there, and the 90 goes around in the corner. Don't think anybody else caught him, but, except for Tim Combs. But yeah, simple incident there. Eric Eastep. Meanwhile, again, the donations keep on coming. We're creeping up, closing in, I think, on $5,000.
We're getting closer and closer. I love seeing that Groovy donation gauge there on the bottom left slowly but surely reach its end. Thank you, Zach, for the donation. You mentioned Danny B was in the donations earlier. We've gotten a ton of very generous donations from viewers here tonight, and I just dropped the link one more time in the live chat so that anyone who wants to contribute to the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals and Extra Life can donate right there. We are still giving away some prizes to those who choose to donate. So keep them coming. We still have almost 50 laps to go in this race.
So, plenty of time to donate if you want. Also of note, Dalton Kilroe just took one of his 2 fast repairs, and at this stage, we'll run through that list. Drivers who have used at least 1 fast repair. Jeff Bergener has used his, Dylan Alderink, Philip Scott, Jeffrey Brewer, Brendan Paunetto, Travis Heffler, Aaron Miller, Zach Henry, Joshua Boscheman, Daniel Miglin, Ty Richter, Tim Combs, Jacob Ollinger, Broderick Johnson, Dalton Kilroe, Jordan Anderson, and Isaiah Cash. Also worth noting that of that bunch, Richter, Combs, Johnson, and Anderson, I believe, are the 4 that have used both fast repairs and are out of fast repairs for the rest of the evening. So if they get involved in anything else wild, they'll end up in big trouble for the final, call it 40 laps or so of this race, as the lights are off on the pace car, and we'll get set to go back green flag racing as Tiny Horse Johnson leads us from the outside lane this time, and we go back to green into the Groovy Hollow 200.
Johnson blew the doors off of the rest of the field. Issues Richter this time mowing the lawn. He's able to avoid a caution coming down and gets back out on track, but now again, Josh Berry watches behind as Bergener on the inside of Rhett Tucker. Door-to-door coming off of turn number 2, and a chance for Josh Berry to pick a lane and pick up another position coming to 41 laps to go.
Tiny Horse Johnson in control. Good battle between Tucker and Bergener to the inside, and here comes Josh Berry in the Halloween machine, digging his way underneath, trying to go after the 52 and get the spot.
Have to wait and see, because it looks like Tucker is able to use that outside lane. We talked about defending in that outside groove, and really it just hasn't worked for many people, but here the white and red number 43 of Rhett Tucker able to utilize that, and you see Johnson and Nichols really beginning to stretch this lead on the rest of the field.
Those 2 clear. Bergener to the inside. He's cleared Tucker. Barry's going to be the one in line to try and follow suit. Mo Perry doing a nice job tracking Barry down and just falling in line behind the Halloween machine. And then I believe that is Philip Scott trying to charge through the field, and maybe Malachi Drake working his way up to the front as well.
Taking a look at Mo Perry's now. Josh Berry makes the move on Rhett Tucker. Battle for the lead up front. Johnson and Nichols. Nichols really diving it in, and back down the track comes Johnson.
Johnson to the outside, Nichols to the outside as they make contact for the race lead, and the yellow flag is out. Tiny Horse Johnson got a good sign of Randall Nichols' Toyota Supra and went sideways in the corner. That was a weird domino effect almost, as Nichols was incredibly loose on corner entry. The rear end nearly snapped around on him, and he basically used Johnson as we go back to the bowling references, almost like a bumper on a bowling lane to straighten himself back out, but Johnson in turn goes around in turn 4.
This is nothing that Randall Nichols anticipated, though. You saw him go into the corner. Woo! Evasive action there by Avery Schwab. But when he went into the corner, he let it all hang out, and unfortunately it all hangs out on the number 10 car. And yeah, Nichols dives in so hot into the corner and loses the rear end, and essentially kicks out the rear end of the 10 machine. That's purely accidental, as now the 18, because of that incident, gets the black flag from first to last. Nichols now having to serve a penalty for being the cause of that incident. And that hurts oh so mighty much, because now your top 2 leaders, they've been thrown to the back of this.
Big moment there as the spin sent Johnson backwards, and Nichols takes the EOL, and that means that at least at the moment, Jeff Bergener is going to be the one in control of this field. Also of note, Eric Estep, I saw you punch in beef in chat. I wonder, have you been watching a certain Georgian's streams somewhere to pick that up? Wink, wink.
It's hard to miss. I mean, you gotta appreciate some good beef at the front of the field whenever you can get it. Absolutely. But no, that incident right there, two guys going real hard for potentially the race win as we get down to less than 30 laps to go, and Randall Nichols maybe he pushed it just a little bit too hard. Now, when I look at the rest of this field, look who's on that front row. Look at that green and black. That spooky Halloween machine has got clean air in front of him. This could be dangerous for the rest of the field.
It could be, as Josh Berry has that outside lane with 30 laps to go. As he spins the tires, though, a little bit on the restart. I don't know if he was ready for it, but Bergener got a good restart, and Rhett Tucker is going to be able to hang at least for the moment. But now Berry's got it going. Here comes the momentum. Here comes the run on the high side from the 31 car.
Wow, that run that Barry had coming off of turn number 2 propels him side by side into turn number 1 now. Barry and Bergener, wheel to wheel. Josh Berry, power moves on the outside and put the 31 up to P1.
How much do you pinch? How much do you try and hold Bergener down? And if you're Bergener, how do you hang on and make sure that Barry doesn't keep you stuck on the bottom and keep your momentum chopped as you come off these corners to make sure you hold on to the race lead? That's the big question, as they are door to door for P1 inside of 30 laps to go.
I mean, I wouldn't pinch too hard. Even the last guy to be on the outside in the battle for the lead wasn't intentionally pinching, and it didn't work out very well for him. So I tried to give a little bit of room here, and Josh Berry is doing just that. And now with the caution out, it will come down to, okay, what does time and scoring say? Who will be our leader going back green? Oh, man, more issues today for Ty Richter.
Ty Richter indeed in trouble. And again, same issue he had earlier. He was one of the ones that got on the gas too early on corner exit over in turn 4. This time it happens over out of turn 2. And again, just got on the throttle too quick and ended up looping himself around. I couldn't tell at first glance who got into him, but as I look back on it, it's the jockey machine of Jeffrey Brewer that made contact just a little bit, not too much with the 9 car, but those two come together in turn 3, and the yellow flag comes out again. And also of note, as donations continue to roll in, guess what and guess who? Eric Eastham is now in control of this race. It is the Halloween machine and Josh Berry himself that are now scored as the race leader.
That was the big thing when those two leaders 2 restarts ago came together. That just opened the door for Josh Berry, made his life a bit easier. Still, we saw right there, there was competition around him on that restart. I think there was a lot of drivers there in the top 3 or 4. You saw Tucker starting to close in as they were side by side. I think it's going to be competitive on this restart. But if Josh Berry doesn't spin the tires, if he's clear going into turn 1, he might just run away and hide with this thing. But you can never run away and hide from all the problems at Groovy Hollow Raceway. So going to be a lot to watch here for the final 20 or so laps whenever they get back green. And we are really close to 5,000 at the end of this race. We have a ton of exciting stuff to give away to those who've donated. So keep them coming, folks, all for a great cause. We truly appreciate it.
The more you donate, the more you have the chance to win, the more prizes you're entered for at the end of the night. So see if you can hop in, hit that link at the top of the description, and you can donate and get your name on chat. See Nick Breyer coming in just a few moments ago. He donated $10, so he's going to have a crack at one of the out of the groove drawstring bags that we've seen pop up, but still more giveaways to come as we enter the final 20 laps of the scheduled distance in the Groovy Hollow 200. Josh Berry back on the gas pedal and back to green flag racing we go.
Good jump for the Halloween machine, and Rhett Tucker peeking to the inside, makes contact. Bergener somehow keeps that machine straight, and the 52 holds on to the second position. More trouble behind them, though. Ooh, man, Randall Nichols almost gets caught up in this, but Aaron Miller gets turned the opposite direction in that green number 27. Caution flag back out, and that will mean we will resume this race with under 20 laps to go.
It was Aaron Miller at the heart of this, and Daniel Miglin, who was also involved. And I wonder if Miglin saw what was happening just in front of him and tried to get to the inside, make sure he didn't get trapped and everything. They were also at a point in that corner 4 wide, which here at Groovy Hollow doesn't really work out all that well. Yeah. So you go to a place like Homestead, Miami, and take it 5 wide, you can survive at some point. But for now, Groovy Hollow, if you're anything beyond 2, usually there's going to be a yellow.
You can stick 5 car lengths in there. I believe it.
Oh, lengths, but lengths and widths are 2 different things, remember.
Yeah, but I'm not out there. I don't care. Go for it. They can fit it. No, honestly, when you're 3 wide out there, that is the sketchiest situation you can be in this little bowl here at Spooky Hollow. It feels like you're on the inside of a jack-o'-lantern, right? It's not that big, massive bowl. If you just cut kind of that bottom portion out of it, it's just kind of, it's the bowl, but it's still kind of flat on the bottom. Like, you can't really see. It seems like when these cars come off the corner, especially as you mentioned, James, where you are now going downhill instead of uphill, that rear end feels like it lifts off the ground. And when you saw what happened there with Jeff Bergener and how he nearly whipped it around, everyone else took evasive action, and that was a very long domino effect. And I think coming off of 2 and entering into 3, it threw a lot of guys off.
It did throw a lot of people off. Eric, any observations over the last maybe 50 laps or so before we go back green flag racing?
I think Josh Berry's going to be tough to beat. Like I said, he didn't spin his tires and he got clear. All these cautions, though, going to continue to bunch up the field. It's not over till it's over.
Green flag going to come out here on lap 185 of 200. We're going to have 15 laps to go when we get back to green flag racing as Barry takes off big time, run into the corner. The top 5 will all go in line, and it's Philip Scott and Avery Schwab who will fight for position.
Everyone just chasing Josh Berry, though. He's already accumulating a gap over the rest of the field, and it does not help that once you get to about that 5th or 6th position, these guys start to go 2 by 2. Berry hasn't quite put a massive gap, though, on Bergener, so he still has a little bit of work to do, but I would be concerned that Josh Berry, being the king of this track that he is, he might just be conserving right now. This might just be him hanging back, and that's the last thing anyone wants to see.
That's a little bit of a terrifying thought. If the Halloween machine is holding back and there's still more that he can or can't do, it's a very, very scary thought indeed as we approach the final 10 laps of this race. 13 to go now in this Groovy Hollow 200, but a yellow flag out once again. Trouble, I believe. Tim Combs in it again. Looks like
Tim Combs went under a ladder as a black cat went down it, ran into a mirror and broke it. Broke a horseshoe. What else can I throw on here, James?
Spilled salt on the table. Spilled salt on the table.
Spilled salt on the table by hitting and breaking the mirror under the ladder that the black cat was going down. That's what happened earlier today for that number 5 driver.
That was an impressive number of Halloween references in a short period of time.
Yeah. Halloween. I was gonna say we maybe need a pumpkin or 2, something like that. Let it rot.
Very superstitious, like
something of that nature. But yeah, Eric, how nuts is this going to be in the final 10 laps? And do you think we're going to see some green-white checkers?
Oh, I think there's a chance. What's the max 3? I believe we have for tonight. There, we could push that limit. Although I don't know. Like you mentioned, Josh Berry didn't get too far ahead there those last couple of laps. So we'll just see how things shake out. If they can get organized behind him and let 2nd, 3rd place kind of get in order, and if they can get a few laps under their belt, maybe they'll have something for him. I mean, it is short track racing. The bumper is always an option.
Bumper is always an option. Also, want to give another shout out here, especially the folks. We've had a few technical issues there, but the 2 drivers with the schemes of note not having bad runs. Broderick Johnson in the 47, having a solid running here. He's in the 16th, and I believe I saw that 52 somewhere near the top of the leaderboard, Devin Henry.
Yeah, and that 52 car, it's been fast. I wish I could see that crow, man. Bergener has just been comfortable up in this 2nd position. Got passed by Josh Berry, and we'll see if he has enough to fight back for this position, because I don't know if Berry is laying back or if the tires are really wearing off on that 31 machine, but I don't think this race is over yet, guys.
We don't think. And Bergener's been up. You look at some of the drivers here at the front, it's drivers who have had speed in this race. Bergener's been quick. Rhett Tucker's driven through the field almost as many times as Josh Berry. So there are some drivers that could give Josh Berry some trouble in these final 10 laps. And remember, 3 green-white checkers available.
Yeah, they might use them all at this point. We'll see how it goes.
Off goes Josh Berry. Takes off, green flag out here. Working our way towards 8 laps, 7 laps to go on the board as they continue to roll. Berry got a good jump. Bergener's going to sit in 2nd.
Reels back in that rear bumper of Josh Berry. Still can't seem to hook on, though. Yeah, that rear bumper damage is not doing anything negative for Josh Berry at this point. Zach Henry right now stuck in the black hole in that black and purple number 36 machine, just hanging on to that outside lane. But hey, we said his name a few times. He was fast earlier in stage 1 and then ran into a multitude of difficulties. But Philip Scott is back racing for the 7th spot on track. Right behind him, Randall Nichols is up to P9.
Nichols has made his way back to the front. More importantly, though, working our way to 4 laps to go within the final 5 of the scheduled distance in the Groovy Hollow 200, and no one has anything for Josh Berry at the front, at least for now.
Oh, Nichols really stuffing it into the inside. Lucky there that the 19 of Philip Scott didn't accidentally bring that wheel back down. That was a tight hole that now Randall Nichols uses to put himself into P number 8 and goes around. Oh, man. Again, a driver who lays it all out on the line, got on the throttle too hard on exit, made a great pass, but it's all for naught as Nichols will now re-tag the tail of the field.
Nichols in trouble. You see his onboard camera looks relatively calm given what just happened, but yeah, we're going to look at the replay, but just looped it around in the corner.
Yeah, that one's so, and especially with how old these tires have gotten, I think that this is a classic case of getting on the throttle too early on corner exit. And part of this is how you set up your corner, is setting up yourself for a failure on an exit. No, I think actually a good look right there. I didn't notice that he goes down and he hits the apron. Even though it's not a massive banking change, jumping on that apron as much as he did, that can really upset the race car. And that might have been the issue there. I don't think he ever re-caught the car after he hit that apron.
Think so. Valid point here. Josh Berry's going to have a chance to reset. Meanwhile, we're going to see if we can get the lubricate machine lined up for this final restart. Bergener in second, so he's got a shot here at Josh Berry. Could be very, very intriguing if he gets a good restart.
That's what I'm wondering, because if the Ghost has himself a good restart here, or if he spins the tires, he's in trouble. One more big round of applause, though, for these machines. And Bergener, I mean, we definitely need to show that 52 machine because, boy, has that car been lightning fast up front so far tonight. And this is the guy right here. I think the only guy, maybe him and Rhett Tucker, have the only opportunity to get this win away from Josh Berry. Because I will remind you, James Pike, how did Rhett Tucker take the lead? He restarted in the 3rd position and bounced out to P1 in a single lap. So watch out for that white and red machine on the inside 2nd row. Rhett Tucker, does he have enough left in that machine to get up to P1?
Does he have a charge left in him for as much as he's been able to do it? But yeah, could be very, very intriguing here. Eric Estep, any thoughts for this final restart? Maybe.
Yeah, I do just want to give a quick shout out to the chat. We have officially reached over $5,000 donated to Extra Life, which is fantastic. And I do also want to give a big shout out to all the folks from Luberplate and at Alka-Seltzer watching this stream. It's great to see that 52 car up front. Will he have anything for Josh Berry on this restart? We'll have to wait and see.
We go back to green flag racing here. Josh Berry takes off. We'll go green flag racing once again. Yellow flag is out. We're going back to a green-white checker.
Bocheman has issues down the back straightaway. This is either one of our classic causes of either getting a little bit too much throttle on the exit, or it's a classic case of a domino effect coming off the corner. But nonetheless, it will give everyone another opportunity to take a shot at Josh Berry. Again, Bergener will start on the outside. Rhett Tucker will start on the inside of the 2nd row. So we'll see if anyone has anything left. But, I mean, even on that last restart, Josh Berry had himself a car length in a snap of his fingers. So I don't know if anyone has anything for this number 31 machine unless you get something like Samantha Stevens going and you got to wrinkle the nose, or I don't know, maybe Jeannie Nelson and do the blink and get yourself out in front. I don't know what other old school. I haven't said anything Sabrina the Teenage Witch yet, so I don't know. You're gonna need one of that magic to get yourself forward.
Yeah, I suppose in this spooky season, there's witchcraft that's possible. There's wizardry, ghouls, ghosts, vampires, goblins. So something that you might be able to pull out of your hat, but it may take that sort of magic to beat the Halloween machine. Because Josh Berry's been, shall we say, impervious to all challengers now that he's been at the front. Anytime he's been leading, he's been impossible to catch. Eric Estep.
Absolutely. And these short runs, giving him the chance to kind of size up his competition. You see him even cleaning off his tires a little bit right there as he went down the back straightaway. I think he knows exactly what he has behind him. And, that rear bumper's already been beat all up. At this point, what more can really be done to it? At this point, it's all out front for him, all focusing on hitting his marks going into turn one. And I think he's going to come home a winner if all goes according to plan.
Also of note, up to $5,200 in change donated to Extra Life tonight.
Absolutely, and we're going to have a ton of things to give away at the end of this race, so stay tuned after the checkered flag. This is going to be a fun show.
What do we find on what could be the final restart? Second attempt at 3 to green, white checker by the way as Barry takes off down the banking, and we are back to racing at Groovy Hollow.
Part of his success is he has a tremendous line on the exit of 4, as it looked like Tucker and Bergener almost got into each other, maybe did touch, and that will allow the Halloween machine to grab almost a half-second lead. They're stacking up behind him. Phillips Scott in trouble. Now the 66, and Mo Perry into the wall. The white flag was out, though. This one is official, James Pike.
It won't matter as they wreck behind Josh Berry. They still can't touch the Halloween machine at Groovy Hollow as Josh Berry comes across the line to win the Groovy Hollow 200 at Groovy Hollow Raceway ahead of Rhett Tucker and Zach Henry, who will round out the podium. Malachi Drake and Dylan Alderney to take the top 5. But the Halloween machine comes back after an extended absence and proves to everyone at Groovy Hollow Raceway, Devin Henry, he's still got it.
No one could stop the bank teller, Josh Berry, from collecting and counting up his money tonight, and also the more than $5,000 that you guys raised here tonight. Now Josh Berry gets to celebrate a win here at Spooky Hollow and celebrate all the fundraising that we brought home tonight here in the Spooky Hollow 200.
Big win for Josh Berry. Not a huge surprise, but I think, Devin, the most impressive thing, to see him come through the field twice, because he took the opportunity to start from the back, drove to the front, and then got inverted all the way to the back after the end of the second stage and came back to the front again. I don't know if any driver passed more cars tonight than Josh Berry, who, by my math, completed, at least 60 passes if he came through the field twice?
Oh, minimum. Bare minimum 60 passes from that Halloween machine. Take a look back at this final restart, and he just has such a great line coming off of 4 to set up that opening corner. And this is where you just say sayonara. Josh Berry, no one can catch him. They didn't even go 2 by 2 behind him. But there was nothing left for anyone to catch up to Josh Berry off that restart. Just an absolute flawless restart.
As they wrapped it up here, there was lots of action coming through. I think this might have actually been the first attempt at a green-white checker that we just saw. We'll see if we can get it looped ahead to the final attempt at a green-white checker. But yeah, I saw there was lots of incidents around maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th. I couldn't tell how many people went with Jet Bergener on the back straightaway on the last lap, but there were about 3 or 4 cars that went with him and went around over on the exit of turn 2. So this, I believe, is now the last restart. You see how Berry ran down the banking, got another good run going. Here's a look at that battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th behind Berry. They were already bunched up. You saw, I think that was Phillips Scott that went sideways just out of the corner of your screen. And then here's a good look at what happened with the 52 a little bit later.
Yeah, and all of this calamity doesn't matter because no one spun around until Josh Berry got past that white flag. Man, how unfortunate after such a phenomenal run. Oh, he can't even finish the race. He got the rear tires up over the wall. Man, that 52 car was wicked fast. He put up a great race, but unfortunately for Bergener, this is all he's able to do. We'll take one last look at it here. He's in that black and white number 52. Coming off a 2, tried to pinch a little bit maybe, and they float up into him, and he gets sent around down the back straightaway, and that would end the night for the driver of the number 52 machine.
52 machine sticks it in the fence and gets stuck there. And yeah, that's a tough one and a tough pill to swallow, I think. If you are a Jeff Bergener who had been top 5 for a good chunk of the second half of this race and ends up in the fence at the end of it. But there's a look at your winner. There's Josh Berry in the Halloween machine. He'll see if he can repeat the feat at Martinsville in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race on Saturday afternoon. But for now, the Halloween machine goes back to victory lane at Groovy Hollow, just as it has done so many times before. Josh Berry in control of that car wins by almost half a second. Change over Red Tucker. Zach Henry was third. Malachi Drake finished in fourth. Dylan Oldernick completes the top 5. Tiny Horse Johnson was 6th. Travis Heffler was 7th. Daniel Miglin 8th. Tim Combs came home with the 9th position, and 10th went to Brandon Paunetto.
Jacob Olgener finishing off in the 11th position, Darian Gilliam in P12, Jeffrey Brewer in the 13th position. Roderick Johnson finishing in P14. Philip Scott able to salvage a 15th place position. Avery Schwab in the 16th spot. Mo Perry in 17th. Casey Wood in 18th. Joseph Crott P19th. And unfortunately, the first car one lap down, Jeff Bergener rounds out the top 20.
21st in this field was Joshua Boschema. Randall Nichols was 22nd. 23rd was Chai Richter. Aaron Miller was 24th. Jordan Anderson finished in the 25th position. 26th went to Isaiah Cash. Spencer Boyd brought it home in 27th. 28th was Matt Kentfield. Jason Malewin was 29th. And Dalton Kilrow completed the 30-car field this evening. There's a good look once more at Josh Berry, who is victorious at Groovy Hollow. But Eric, more giveaways that I know you need to make sure you get out of your hands and off to the fans watching on Out of the Groove before we talk to our podium.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to Josh Berry, of course, backing up his the legend that is the Halloween machine. But yeah, we do have a bunch more stuff to give away. Our grand prize winners here are ready to be announced. Winning more Out of the Groove bags, we have Noah, Ezekiel, Nickel, Jonathan, Dustin, Riley's grandma and grandpa, congratulations, Jay Sawyer, Jackson, the Taylors, and Ward. And then winning our remaining 3 Noah Gregson Lionel diecasts, we have Tyler, Niners Nation, and Dakota. Winning a subscription to NASCAR Pole Position Magazine, we've got Tony and Zach. And lastly, I know we didn't have a great finish here tonight, but we expect a lot out of that 31 car on Saturday. Jordan Anderson from Jordan Anderson Racing, his big prize pack is going out to Bailey. So everyone who I just announced and earlier in the night, be sure to check your emails for more information so we can get all of your prizes to you. But a huge thank you to everyone who helped donate more than $5,000 tonight to Extra Life and the Children's Miracle Network. Really incredible. Really, truly appreciate everyone's generosity and support. Thought this was a great show. Let's see if we can talk to some of our top finishers.
Yeah. I also see that Devin has decided to do his best Charlie Brown impression and bring the pumpkin in for the final few moments of the show. Yeah. Just he's a
Eric,
big time pumpkin.
so Eric is going to carve it with the Indiana Jones whip.
Yeah.
So we got this figured out, James. We're good.
I wish I had a prop to go with. I don't really have much of anything besides the vampire.
Use your
kit,
teeth,
but...
Mr. Vampire.
You can sink your teeth into it. It'll be glorious.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Cut her open.
I like the idea of sinking my teeth into some interviews here. So let's see if we can try and get those lined up in just a few moments. But before we do, Devin Henry, that was a lot of fun. That was a crazy last restart.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at Josh Berry and his ability to just go out and do whatever he wants in that restart zone, where he was able to really get himself in a good position, whip himself through 4. I mean, no one had anything for him. Maybe if we had a more elongated green flag there, someone could have had the ability to run him back down, but there's a reason why Josh Berry was the Halloween machine. He is so good here at Spooky Hollow and showed it to everyone tonight. As you mentioned, James, minimum 60 cars passed tonight after starting on pit road, working his way through the field. The invert sends him back to last again and comes up to win this race. A phenomenal showcase for Josh Berry here on iRacing. Again, might I add.
And speaking of, let's see if I can talk to the man behind the wheel of the Halloween machine and get a word with our race winner, Josh Berry, who should be with us momentarily in the booth and should be set for a lot of words. I have a feeling he'll have a lot to say as to how this went down. But Josh, You passed the field twice at Groovy Hollow, once of your own accord, once off of an invert, had to fight your way up through the front. But I think if there's anyone most well equipped to speak on this, it's you. Groovy Hollow and Hickory share a lot of similarities. How similar is this track in iRacing to its real life counterpart, and how much did that help you know what you needed to do to get to the front?
Oh yeah, it's definitely really similar. I have a ton of laps at Hickory. I was pretty excited whenever I got invited to do this since I was at Hickory. I knew I'd be at home there. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I know it looked cool, but I really didn't actually mean to start in the back. I've kind of had my hands full here with my little girl, and she was in here messing around, and I thought we were practicing. I didn't realize we were qualifying, and then in advanced succession to the race, and I missed the start and had to come from the back, but it was still fun. Yeah, I can't believe that I was able to stay out of trouble like that, but all in all, like I said, it was a lot of fun. Hickory's a great racetrack, and it was a really fun event.
To my knowledge, this is your first sort of high-profile win in the sim, which, as many people know, is how you got your start. Eventually, is part of the reason why you're going to be running full-time Xfinity Series next year. It started through DMP, it started through NR 2003, and then iRacing. So for you now to get a big win in the sim here at Hickory after all you've done there in real life, especially with the Cars Tour and your victories there, Throwback 276 as well back in the spring, does it sort of bring it full circle in a sense?
Yeah, definitely. iRacing, sim racing in general is something that, I've loved doing for, close to 15 years or something now. Definitely a really passionate hobby of mine, and I never thought that I would be able to connect the two with my real racing, and meeting Dale and being able to do that, allowed that, and get to be a member of Junior Motorsports for a number of years, and then. I say this often, but it's just amazing how much my life's changed in the last year. So just been a lot of fun, and definitely love to hop on the short tracks on iRacing as many chances as I get.
We look ahead to Martinsville, a little bit different car than the one you had when you were victorious in the spring. But Martinsville is a place where it sort of equalizes you, because it's more, I think, about skill than it is about any sort of technical package. And to that end, how excited are you to get back with another race-winning car to Martinsville in a big-time race and get yourself another crack at another grandfather clock?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. Obviously, Martinsville's somewhere that's very special to me, and obviously had a life-changing moment there in April in the 8 car, and really developed a great relationship with Jordan Anderson and his whole team, and I'm really thankful that the opportunity that I have Saturday running for him again and getting to go back to Martinsville, but obviously all the other opportunities all the other opportunities that I've had with him throughout the year. I'll be honest, I really think Jordan will look back on it and realize that he had a lot of part in me getting the opportunity that I have in front of me next year, and just really thankful for everybody on his team and Bomberito, and like I said, it's been a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to Saturday.
Should be intending to watch. Let's bring in Eric Estep here of Out of the Groove and let Eric have a few words with our race winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again so much, Josh, for being a part of the show, being our mystery driver, the driver of the Halloween machine, as we called it, and congratulations. Put on a fantastic show out there. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I know everyone watching and everyone who tuned in had a ton of fun trying to guess who it was, and when they found out it was you at the end of Stage 2 after that dramatic Stage 2 win, everyone was extremely excited. So thank you so much for being a part of it, and best of luck this season and this weekend at Martinsville.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you for having me. That was a lot of fun. Like I said, you picked a great racetrack for sure, and I followed along a little on YouTube there. Saw some people guess it pretty early on with the paint scheme kind of giving it away a little bit, but like I said, it was a lot of fun. Great cause. I know that you guys raised a lot of money here tonight, and that's really special. So whatever, I don't know, I'm not sure on the rules. Whatever I earned tonight, added into the pot as a donation, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Josh Berry, your race winner tonight here at Groovy Hollow Race with Halloween Machine Rides. Again, thanks as always, Josh, for coming in and taking the time to chat with us.
Yep, thank you, man.
That's Josh Berry, Hendersonville, Tennessee's finest, rather, and coming away with the victory. Devin Henry, how about we go to P2? Rhett Tucker had a really solid run, was one of the few drivers that was able to keep pace with the 31, comes away with a runner-up finish, and he's going to be chatting with us momentarily.
Well, Rhett Tucker, of course, had that phenomenal opening pass to take the lead in the beginning of the race, but wasn't quite able to take care of Josh Berry later on after a wicked conclusion there. But Rhett, what else did you think you need there to catch up to the Halloween machine in the closing laps? That was it?
Oh, dang, I was
found
too
it. There he
hyped up.
is.
I didn't push my button, man. Dude, and I've chilled out quite a bit since the end of it. Man, I don't know. Maybe some more seat time here, I guess. Josh Berry knows this place like the back of his hand, man. That was just, I count that as a victory on my part, man. That was a blast.
And I mean, this Groovy Hollow track, it's a difficult track to kind of maintain yourself, but you were up front at the beginning, you were up front at the end. How did this track, or how did the cars kind of evolve as this race continued on throughout the night?
I mean, they would get tight, you know, you'd get on the brake and try to slow down. It felt like the car would just bounce off the pavement, so it would push up the track a little more than I wanted it to, but I kind of just had to settle myself down, you know, otherwise I'd get past and ran over. But it was tough. I planned on, you know, using one set of tires until the halfway point, so I'd have an extra set, you know, for like the second, I don't know, half. I would have 2 sets of tires, and I just never found myself in a situation come get tires. So I don't know. That was intense, man.
Raised a lot of money for a great cause tonight. Also gave away a ton of prizes, and you got yourself some good screen time throughout the race tonight. But who do you have to thank for coming out here and getting home a second place finish here tonight at the Groovy Hollow 200?
First of all, I got to thank Robbie Clavey, man. Everybody at Podium for putting this on. You guys for doing a killer broadcast. Lube Guard for being on my car. There's other people I can't thank right now, but everybody for watching, man. We did something really cool for the kids. Last I heard, we raised like $3,000, man. That's killer.
An awesome race tonight. Over $5,000. Over $5,000 here tonight, guys. Raised.
That's awesome. That's a victory in itself.
Absolutely, and you helped put on a great show. So thanks for coming out tonight. Congratulations on the second place finish, Rhett.
Thank you, guys. I'm a free agent, by the way.
I was going to say he's available. He's available. Rhett Tucker available and finishes second here in the Groovy Hollow 200. And James, one more driver for us tonight. Zach Henry, someone who he was kind of up front early, and then, okay, he's gone. And, oh, look, the 36 car's back.
I feel like if anything, Zach Henry, that whole race was a story of resource management for you, maybe more so mentally even than physically. Not making sure you pushed yourself until it was time to go, because you sort of rode around for a good chunk of the first 125 laps. But once we started getting those yellow flags, it seemed like you started to make your way to the front. Was that part of your plan at the beginning of this race?
Yes, sir. So the first 70, 80 laps or so, they were pretty clean. We had a couple of decent runs in there, and I was just saving some stuff. And then the first time I was sent to the back after the first stage, I was able to drive my way back through the field really pretty quick without too many issues. So I was kind of banking on doing doing that same thing, but it was much tougher to drive through the field when everybody was on fresh tires. So I was trying to conserve as much as I could. When we got into the last 50 laps or so, I realized I just needed to go and start working the outside because it seemed like there weren't too many people that were able to do that. And then, as people were wrecking and checking up on the inside, I was just gradually moving my way forward.
Indeed. So you come away now with a P3 finish, and against a field like this, and to say that you got the chance to race with one of Groovy Hollow's finest, and Josh Berry, who's got plenty of wins here in real life. What's that mean to you?
I wish I could have, been a little closer to him. Unfortunately, our paths never really crossed. I think that if I would have been up there with him, I could have given him a run for the money. But it's cool being in a lobby with all these guys. Everybody in here, they're really great drivers. It was a lot of fun, a lot of we had some caution and stuff, but there were a lot of really clean drivers in here. It was really competitive, and it was a blast all the way around.
And this car and this track combo, Groovy Hollow and the Xfinity machine, which you wouldn't necessarily think of, but you consider the real life counterpart, Hickory Motor Speedway, used to hold races in the NASCAR Xfinity Series back in the 80s and the 90s. A fun combo to drive, no?
Oh, I think it's great. It's really tough to go fast, and it's really tough to go fast for a long time. And at least here on iRacing, it's the car, at least the fixed setup, the car is pretty loose at the beginning, depending on how you're driving, and it kind of tightens up a little bit at the end. But I mean, you can't say that about a lot of different cars on the service, with the majority of the tracks, anyways. But really, depending on how you drive this car, it affects how you handle the long run. You can be loose on the long run or tight on the long run, depending on what you're doing. And I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's, like I said, it's hard to go fast, and I think the tracks where it's hard to go fast, those are the best tracks on the surface.
A lot of fun come racing here at Groovy Hollow. Zach, congratulations on your podium finish, and thanks as always for the time.
Awesome, thank you.
Zach Henry comes home P3, and Devin Henry, that's a lot of fun. I'm sort of hoping that we don't see Groovy Hollow disappear into the ether, because I don't know about you, but I would like to come back if we get the chance. This is a fun little racetrack.
I mean, maybe not to drive, because that's definitely not at my talent level. It's a little bit above my pay grade, but seeing some of these guys go out and seeing Josh Berry just carve out the... I didn't even mean to do this pun. How he carved out the field today. No, honestly, what he did was absolutely spectacular, being able to go from the back to the front twice, handle the kiddos and make them all happy, while making everyone happy out on the YouTube channel as well. So it was fun to watch. We had other drivers really step up and make some phenomenal moves as well. So yeah, this is a track that's an iRacing favorite for a reason.
I most certainly would concur. Definitely a lot of fun here at Groovy Hollow Raceway, and a lot of folks that we need to thank for making it possible, especially on the Podium Esports end. Of course, our team as usual: Ryan Bauer, Cisco Scaramuza, Gary Sexton, John Theodore, Eric Messer, who was behind all of the social media posts that you saw, Dougie Beard, who builds our cameras, Gary Sexton, who put together all the pictures that you saw this evening as producer, did a lot of great Halloween themed things to make this happen. Plenty of fun. We certainly enjoyed it here at Podium. And for my colleague in the booth, Devin Henry, I'm James Pica. A big thanks from us on the Podium side for tuning in to the Out of the Groove Groovy Hollow 200. We wish you all a wonderful and happy Halloween. And for the final word here on Out of the Groove, we would be remiss not to turn it back over to the man himself, Eric Eastham, to close this out tonight. But a happy Halloween to all of you from Podium Esports.
Thank you so much, James. Truly appreciate you guys. James, Devin killed it tonight. Pardon the pun, continuing the Halloween puns just for a few moments longer. But what a fantastic event. And again, a huge thank you to everyone who turned out tonight, everyone who raced, because all of our drivers tonight donated generously as well. Everyone who watched, we had over 5,000, we raised over $5,000 for Extra Life and the Children's Miracle Network hospitals tonight. That's mind-blowing. That is incredible. We had a lot of fun while doing it. So from my team, a huge thank you to AE Engine for putting this together. Craig Barancelli, Nicole Cooper, Josh Moll, Joe Roebuck, and everyone at AE Engine. And then Robbie Clavey, we thanked him at the very beginning of the show, but he was really like the organizer of this entire thing. Really appreciate that. And another shout out to Chris Darling for designing many of the spooky and fantastic paint schemes you all saw here tonight. I hope I'm not forgetting anyone, but one more time, a huge thank you to everyone who watched tonight, who raced tonight, who put this event on. This was a lot of fun. Got me in the Halloween spirit. Going to be a fantastic real life weekend of racing here in just a few days. But again, want to thank everyone for tuning out tonight to the first ever Groovy Hollow 200, and congratulations to Josh Berry for, I guess, defending his turf, if you will, within the lore of Groovy Hollow. Great show. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of it.